Welcome in to a glorious Friday edition of Rightside Radio. I'm Amy Beth Shaver with JP.
We're already falling apart over here.
Listen,
Did you hear that?
What was that? That wasn't anybody trying to get in to murder us, was it?
No, something fell off my desk.
All right. And I love how my earbobs, just like they're wily. They're out of control. It's already off the rails and we just got started. We hope you guys are having a fabulous Friday. It is Valentine's Day weekend. I would like to let you know that I think the whole thing has gotten out of control with this whole, has Galentine's always existed? Has that always been a thing? I'm on a text thread with people that I absolutely love, but I'm noticing more and more people are like, Happy Galentine's.
Is that for the single girls?
I don't know.
That's weird.
Listeners, friends, what is going on? Like St. Valentine was a real guy. I that's all I know. Okay. It's Valentine's Day. But anyway, I think it's out of control.
Well, I'll say this. I get to spend no money. I don't got to worry about any of that. I get to just save money this Valentine's Day, per usual.
So what are you going to do?
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know.
You're going to Taco Casa, aren't you?
I may. Yeah. I don't know. This is single people can be down in the dumps on Valentine's Day, but I choose to look at it like, dude, that's money that stays in my bank account. Okay. And when the girl comes that I'm okay spending Valentine's Day money on, then I'll know. But in the meantime,
you're just going to enjoy it.
That's money staying in my account. That's all I'm saying. You got to be a glass half full kind of person.
I agree with you.
Just saying.
I agree with you. I remember my last Valentine's Day before I met my husband. That was so sad because girls get in the dumps because you graduate from college and you're supposed to have the love of your life. Apparently that's how it's supposed to go. Haha. That is not how it went. Anyway, I met him right after that, after I swore off love and I got okay with it all. And now I would be you. I would be glass half full. But hey, I met him afterwards. It was perfect. So you're not doing anything this weekend. I say you're going to go to Taco Casa. Do you have any, like, what are you going to do? You going to watch basketball?
Probably. I think there's a Bama basketball game Saturday night. But it'll probably just be a chill weekend. I don't know. I've switched into a mode not too long ago where I'm just like, when she comes, she comes. But like, I'm just enjoying my time single because I know that there's gonna be a day. Maybe there's one day. I'm not accusing anybody of this. Okay, so but there may be a day in the future where my wife is pissing me off or something like that, or relationship, beef, the usual happens, and I'm gonna look back on these days and be like, I miss where I can just get in the car, go to Taco Casa, and nobody would bother me. I could do whatever I want without having to worry about somebody else, and these are gonna be the good old days, So you gotta enjoy the freedom and good old days before God brings you that person.
JP, but might I suggest that the right person will go, heck yeah, let's go to Taco Casa.
That's true.
The right person will be like, you want to go drive around? Go drive around.
That's
I'll
true.
see you later.
Yeah.
I had a mentor in my life tell me that once, right when I met Chris. She was like, this is how you do it. Not like, ugh.
Yeah.
It was really good. She was like, don't be mad at him if he wants to spend time with his friends or if he wants to, do this and that. He's a dude. He needs his friends just as much as girls do. So the right lady will say, go do your thing. And she'll be happy for you. I promise you. It'll happen that way.
And then some people will say, how are you going to find someone if you're not out looking? And I'm like, I don't know. But you know what? She'll pop up because I had a bad date early last year. And after that, I was like, I am done looking. And ever since, I've just been like, not even thinking about it. But I don't know. Maybe God will just like plop her right in my lap with it. Some people are like, that's not how it works. And I'm like,
It is how it
we'll
works.
find out.
Because Chris and I got set up on a blind date.
Really?
Mhm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Like from friends?
From his uncle, who we owe everything to his uncle and aunt. They are in Huntsville, and they are amazing. I was speaking, so I was working, and I was speaking to a youth camp, and he said, "You need to meet my nephew."
Huh.
And I went, and it didn't happen immediately because it was about 8 weeks later that I went and spoke at their church. And at the time, it was in Anniston. And his aunt, as the weekend was finishing up, said, "We need to make a quick stop at our house." And she ran in, and I didn't know this, called him and said, "This is her number. You have to call. You have to call her."
That's funny.
And I got home that day. He called me that Monday. That was literally the next day he called. We went out on a Friday, and we got married the next year in May.
Wow.
We met in March. We married the following May.
When you know, you know.
We knew on our first date we were going to get married. He called his parents and said, "This is crazy, but can I know?" And they said, "Of course you can know. You can just know. Promise." It happened that way.
It's just like me. When you know, you know, but when you don't know, you don't know.
You don't know.
Like 15 minutes into my last date, I was like, oh, God, get me out of here.
Isn't that the worst?
Oh, dude.
Oh,
it was bad. Yeah.
Yeah. It's when you have that, and everybody has it, though some people are more attuned than others, because my son is like you. He just immediately gets these, it's insight. And you're like, I got to fake this for 2 more hours. This is miserable.
It was so bad. Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah. And I texted her on the drive home, and I was like, I don't think we should like.
Good for you.
I never got a text back, but
at least you close the loop.
That's true.
You know, I mean, because guys your age are not exactly awesome at, okay, we're done. You know?
That's true. There's one thing though that today you mentioned Valentine's Eve. Do you know what today is also?
I do have a this day in history. What is on this day?
Oh no. Like think about today. Think
February 13th.
What's the day of the week?
Friday the 13th.
It's Friday the 13th today. I don't know why. I was just on my phone like earlier this morning. I was looking at an apartment today actually, and I saw like, you know how that top part of your phone, and I saw Friday 13, and I was like, oh okay, and I go, wait. Because I used to have a football coach in high school. He would always make a big deal about Friday the 13th. He'd always be like, head on a swivel, weird things can happen today. So every time I see that, I'm like, oh crap. Like, I'm always looking around like what's gonna happen. But yeah, it is Friday the 13th. Are you one of those people that thinks weird stuff happens on Friday the 13th?
Well, because my birthday is the 13th, and every 7 years it happens on Friday the 13th, I'm like, I'm here. So, no, I don't. But I thought it was odd when I was growing up that there'd be hotels and they'd have no 13th floor.
Yeah.
Do you think weird things happen on the 13th?
I mean, I don't know. I'm a little suspicious, and I'm a little superstitious as well. So like, I'd be one of those people, like if I owned a hotel, like no 13th floor. I'm just weird like that. I had a friend growing up who leaned into it. Like we played like Little League my whole childhood together, and he purposely wore 13 every year to lean into it. But he was like a weird, like goofy kid like that. But yeah, I don't know. Just whenever I see it's Friday the 13th, I get that feeling of, oh crap, head on a swivel. Head on a swivel. Something weird's gonna happen. So I don't know if wacky stuff happens in the show today, or something, some bombshell happens in the news, and you'll know why. It's Friday the 13th.
Okay. All right. You know what? I'm gonna be open to that. I'll be open to that. Speaking of, did you like where you toured earlier today?
It was pretty good.
It was pretty good.
I'm gonna tour.
Is it far away?
No, it's in. It's about. I think it was a 12-minute drive from the studio.
That's not bad.
I'm touring one other place on Monday.
Okay.
That's a little bit higher than my budget, but if I really like it, then I'll do it. And if I don't, or it's too far out of my budget, then I'll just do the one I looked at today. But yeah, we're in the apartment hunting season again.
Does the smell of an apartment matter to you? Like, if you walk into a complex and you're like,
Not really. Oh, you know what they had? I'd never heard of this before. And people may be like, duh, but I've never heard of it before. Have you ever heard of valet trash?
yes, my son had that
Yeah.
in one of the places he lived.
When she said that today,
What?
she was like, valet trash. Like, when she was going through things, like, yeah, we'll pick up the trash from your door. And I was just kind of listening and reading. I go, wait, did she just say what? And then when we were walking into the apartment, I was like, by the way, earlier, did you say valet trash? She's like, oh, yeah. Every day, besides Mondays, I think she said, just leave, like, we'll do one bag at a time, but just leave the bag on your door or outside your door and we'll pick it up and take it. And when I was in college, our apartment was at the very end of the complex and the dumpster was at the front. We would have to skateboard with our bags of trash to the front
Oh,
of the complex
stop.
and dump it in. So when she said that, I was like, that's amazing. Why doesn't every apartment do that? But she said it like, oh yeah, valet trash. I'm like, I've never heard of that before.
That's fancy.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
That's very crazy. But you're moving on up.
I guess
And
so.
this is what that's about. I mean, who knows? Maybe your place on Monday will have the valet trash too. I don't know.
It's like, we don't only have valet trash. We've got a chute in each trash can that when you dump it in, it just goes to our dumpster. You don't even have to take it out.
What?
I was kidding. Imagine though.
Well, Chris Shaver is our trash valet. So I'm the trash maker and he's the valet. He's the trash taker. Thank God.
Both are needed.
They are. They're needed because if I didn't make trash, it means I wasn't cooking.
That's right.
And we need food, so I still at least cook. So that's that. There's that. Okay. Well, you got to keep us updated on your saga. Okay, sir. So there's a lot of news today. I know we're going to break, but for a Friday, there is so much news. I don't know that we'll get into all of it, but I know your montage is going to be a banger because I'm looking at the list you gave. JP, I have some questions about Nancy Guthrie when we get there today. And then we have JP on sports and Clown World. So buckle up. Let's have a Friday. We'll be right back. How Paul Breyer and his team at Inspire Advisors.
You're talking like a robot.
Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto. You've heard us talk about Inspire Advisors, how Paul Breyer and his team of investment advisors.
Allison! Sorry! Okay, sorry.
Hey, y'all. You've heard us talk about investment. JP, turn around. Okay. Go in the other room.
Anything else to do but look at JP?
All right, don't look at JP.
Oh.
Look at the camera.
Okay.
This is our big break. This commercial is our big break.
It's not even funny. Okay.
Hey, y'all. You've heard us talk about our friends.
Howdy, y'all.
Hey, you've heard us talk about
Gang,
Inspire Advisors. We'll get it, JP. Just don't give up on us.
That's funny. You should do it like Marge.
Okay. Hey, my friends. You've heard us talk about Inspire Advisors. How Paul Breyer and his team at Inspire Advisors will help you grow your investment portfolio while also screening out companies that don't match your Christian values.
Paul and his team are experts at what we call biblically responsible investing. And they're offering a free class for a limited time just for you. You're up.
Check out the class and register for free at www.moneypatternwealth.com. It's godly. It's conservative. It's financial freedom.
Again, you go to Inspire Advisors at www.moneywealthpattern.com and check them out and tell them Rightside sent ya. What is that?
court.
There are those in the immigrants' rights community who have argued passionately that we should simply provide those who are illegally with legal status, or at least ignore the laws on the books and put an end to deportation until we have better laws. And often this argument is framed in moral terms. Why should we punish people who are just trying to earn a living? I recognize the sense of compassion that drives this argument. But I believe such an indiscriminate approach would be both unwise and unfair. It would suggest to those thinking about coming here illegally that there will be no repercussions for such a decision. And this could lead to a surge in more illegal immigration. And it would also ignore the millions of people around the world who are waiting in line to come here legally. Ultimately, our nation, like all nations, has the right and obligation to control its borders and set laws for residency and citizenship. And no matter how decent they are, no matter their reasons, the 11 million who broke these laws should be held accountable.
What is the bigger threat to America right now, American values, American life? Islamophobia or jihad?
I think we have to focus, quite frankly, on, if we're worried about the threat to American values, on the person who's in the White House.
What an idiot!
Sometimes people come up to me and whisper, does it matter if we don't believe in the virgin birth?
No, it doesn't matter in the UCC for sure. There are some Christians to whom it really matters. But in the UCC, we feel like the most important thing about Jesus is paying attention to how he lived his life. And the details around his birth are things that we can find meaning in, but the meaning might be symbolic.
What? Hannah Moore believes she and other SNAP recipients should be able to go into the grocery store and buy whatever they like. Soda, candy, prepackaged sweets, prepared desserts, and juice with less than half of natural fruit or vegetable juice in it.
It's not even cool. Like, why they do that? What's the point of food stamps if it's just for...
Welcome back to Rightside Radio. I'm Amy Beth Shaver with JP. We are starting our Friday. And if you're watching, you're loving all that's going on in the commercial breaks, which is we owe to JP. Nope.
Why does your iPad sometimes just do that?
Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
Like, I do nothing. It's off. You see me turn it off.
Yeah.
And she just decides, no, I want to be a bother.
You need a new iPad.
Yeah. She's new.
Oh,
That's
really?
the problem. She's possessed. It's AI.
It's Friday the 13th. Weird stuff happens on
that's it.
Friday the 13th.
That's it.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. Anyway, but if you're watching on YouTube or any of the socials, it's thanks to JP that we have cool things going on in commercial breaks. All right, JP, is it time for the montage, good sir?
I think it is.
Okay, let's do it.
A different glove. This is a glove that was actually inside the house of Nancy Guthrie. We don't know who the glove belonged to. We don't know if it was a random glove, but there was a glove inside the house that is now being analyzed at a private firm in Florida, and the FBI wanted that glove to be analyzed at Quantico in Virginia. So DNA inside the house and a glove unknown who it belongs to or what the context is on the glove, but a glove that was also inside the house, Jesse.
All right, Trace, thank you.
He sent me to Minneapolis to do three things. De-escalate, done. Take public safety threats off the street, over 4,000 illegal aliens were arrested, done. Gain cooperation from state and local law enforcement, so it makes the agent's job safer to arrest a public safety threat in the safety and security of a facility, done. But even though we're drawing down resources, we still want to have hundreds of special agents here.
What do you mean when you say that you believe in the Great Replacement theory?
This refers to the intentional demographic replacement of Europeans in Europe. It was invented by Renaud Camus, who was a French scholar.
You think there's an active effort to, quote unquote, replace Americans right now?
Senator, I think the Democratic Party, through its immigration policies, has certainly shown signs of that.
And I don't understand that.
Why wasn't there more security in there?
Yeah, there was 30 guards out back there.
It was ridiculous. It was all staged.
You think it was D.C. The mayor influenced?
I think she was just a public.
Yeah.
I think it was done for high.
How does that?
Hell, Mitch McConnell was part of it.
I was going to say
he was the one that was part of the decision making. How much security they have on stand. I think they wanted to have a mess.
I mean, didn't we know that was true?
Yeah, I think we did. Which, by the way, if you couldn't really understand that, the audio was a little wacky, but that was a former Michigan State, I think, Senator Majority Leader, saying how January 6th was staged and that Mitch McConnell was at the top of it because he wanted Trump impeached. So, yeah. It's one of those things you still have that feeling. When it happened, you had that feeling, or at least I did. Like, this doesn't seem like it is what they're saying it is. And it still feels that way.
So we will discuss. I'm grabbing an article that is from Nancy Guthrie, because that also doesn't feel like just feels weird. Okay. And I showed you a hilarious clip before we got started of Josh. I don't know what his name is. He's a comedian.
Josh Johnson.
Josh Johnson. And it's spot on. But I've got to find the name of this girl. But I'm going to ask you, do you think that the Nancy Guthrie story, are we getting all the information? It's gone on for this long. Knowing what we know about Savannah Guthrie and her husband and his relationship to the Clintons, does this feel normal to you?
No, I don't know. It's more of like, I feel like I'm getting twisted in knots trying to keep up with the story. You know, a lot of it just doesn't really make sense. And we can talk more about that later on, but it is weird. Also, I saw that there is a white tent outside of the home yesterday, and during that time, Savannah Guthrie was posting like home videos from them and her mom. So I don't know. I'm kind of at the point where I'm thinking she's probably not still with us, but if you've got somebody communicating with you about ransom, I understand with Bitcoin, it's harder to track who it is, but I find it hard to believe they still have like nothing.
Yeah, that's when we come back. I found something this morning, and it's actually the second thing I have found about people talking about Nancy Guthrie and how off things feel. Not everything is a conspiracy, or if it were, nothing would be. But this is getting weirder the longer it goes on. So we'll discuss that and several stories after the break. We'll be back.
Food.
That doesn't make sense.
Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh. All the fields we go, laughing all the way.
You people, this is golf! Not a rock concert!
Why are you going home?
I got sent home for suggesting we do a nativity this year. Apparently I'm Islamophobic.
And what's for lunch?
All they sell is curry now, thanks to Labour and the illegals.
We all know the story, right? 1955, Montgomery, Alabama. Rosa Parks, she's this tired seamstress. She refuses to give up her seat to this white guy. Rosa Parks was a calculating revolutionary whose actions were part of this broader left-wing conspiracy, but the myth that we're all taught is designed to hide this and the radicalism that created it so that we're taught, some feel-good narrative when we're in kindergarten.
You look at MLK and Stanley Levison, who was the CFO of the Communist Party of America, who used Martin Luther King. I mean, he wrote part of the I Have a Dream speech, and he kind of saw MLK as a tool or puppet. Why is there a communist tie-in into all of it? It's just strange to me. It's almost like just like today, like there needed to be a fighting and a racial war almost for them to try to implement what they wanted to implement. So it's strange.
It is my observation that the communists were using the civil rights movement as one more attempt to control the population, because it is their belief that communism can't succeed without first socialism succeeding. And so I think that their point was revolution.
What's different about Minneapolis versus the civil rights movement is that the civil rights movement needed to happen. I don't know if it needed to happen that way. Don't remember communism coming out of it or socialism. But is that the end result of what happened?
I think the end result, if you take communism by its definition of seizing the means of production, what they ended up seizing were our classrooms and our textbooks, and being able to tell a narrative that has spun in their favor.
That's good, Abs.
Thanks,
good.
it's coffee.
Still thinking.
You know, that is getting unwound, and it's time, because there's so much we know that's not true, not just about this, but about many other things. But I think that was what they were able to do. And so now they are reproducing other agitators in other areas of our society.
You're so smart.
We shall discuss Jeffrey Epstein, starting with Kash Patel saying there was no evidence of any children being abused. Essentially, this is what he says: we have been lied to. That is my big takeaway.
I do want to add the Deputy Attorney General Blanche. He not only said physical abuse, but he said death, physical abuse, and injury, which means what?
There was death, physical abuse, and injury.
But you put out something like this in regards to Jeffrey Epstein, and they're talking about this, my ears perk up, and I'm like, maybe Jen Caviezel wasn't absolutely crazy. It's all kind of starting to come together. And then all the stuff, does anybody have the Pizzagate stuff? Everybody thought those people were nuts too. And I think Pizzagate, if you read through these texts, emails, is real.
For too long, not all the pastors, but some of our pastors told us that Christians shouldn't be involved in politics. This is what happens when you abdicate the responsibility for being a civil magistrate, our God-given duty. This crap is what happens when we go, yep, y'all do it. We're just going to hang on until Jesus comes back. This is why it matters that we are involved in politics right here.
The mountain of circumstantial evidence in these files is amazing, to say the least. Bongino made his big return to his podcast today, and his whole, these people are talking about Epstein and the files. They don't even know. They didn't see what I saw. They don't even know what they're talking about. And they're.
Welcome back to Rightside Radio. I'm Amy Beth Shaver with JP on a Friday. So I said before we left that not everything is a conspiracy, because if it were, nothing would be. But then there has come a time in our lives where we have to stop and think, why are they telling us what they're telling us? Why are they staying on a story of a lady in Tucson, Arizona? That's basically what it is. It's a lady in Tucson, Arizona. Why the hullabaloo? Is that like an old lady word, hullabaloo?
The hullabaloo.
That's old. I'm going to take that word back. Why are they making such a fuss?
Yeah.
What's a better word?
Making such a ruckus.
Ruckus. All right, I should have gone with that word. Okay, I take it all back. Why are they making such a ruckus, JP?
This story is bizarre and crazy, but I think it being Savannah Guthrie's mother, it wouldn't be this big of a story.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like I said earlier, I'm just confused. Like, I feel like the story is constantly weaving and winding around and going different places. And oh, we think we got somebody. Oh, no, we don't. Oh, wait, no, we don't. Oh, maybe the Bitcoin, there's been Bitcoin activity on the ransom account. Oh, actually, no. So I have no idea anymore. I did see that the FBI released its first physical description of the capture yesterday. Didn't help very much because all they said was that he was 5'10" or 5'9" and was wearing a 25-liter Ozark trail hiker pack on his back.
Oh, that clears it up.
Yeah. And then there's some people that are like, the video shows it's a woman. Oh, wait, no, there's a mustache and a goatee. It's a guy. So it's like, I don't know. At this point, unfortunately, I think she's probably not still with us. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong.
I don't think that she is still with us, but I am going to ask some questions. A lady named Ann Vandersteel on X comments, looks like she does aviation reporting and other types, but here's what she said. Gosh, I think I found this yesterday. She said, I'll be the one to say it. Nobody's holding Nancy Guthrie for ransom. I'm not saying I believe this, but it's an interesting thing to consider. If they were, her daughter's $40 million net worth would have produced a 7-figure demand by now, and the woman would be home, case closed. Instead, we're fed a slow drip of non-facts, non-evidence, and carefully curated ambiguity designed to keep the spotlight locked in place. No, she is not wrong about that. Okay.
No, she's not.
But the sad, infuriating truth is what we call the news has become a reality control device. If you follow Mike Benz at all and you listen to his talk he gave at Hillsdale College, very interesting about the CIA and its creation, just for your consideration. Okay. Don't take my word for it. Check it out yourself. It's an interesting thing to do this weekend. Anyway, so Nancy Guthrie vanishes and suddenly poof. But this is the interesting part. No more ICE protests clogging the airwaves. No discussion of the SAVE Act, not like it had been. No scrutiny of border numbers or cartel pipelines. No follow-up on the thousands of unaccompanied minors, although they did find them, so she needs to wipe this part out. But one carefully amplified disappearance, and the entire national conversation pivots on command. That is an interesting thought, because we have noticed that is all we're talking about, except we're talking about the SAVE Act. Tom Homan did come on and talk about the kids that they had rescued. That's great. But the part that I think is interesting is Epstein is still out there, but what are we really focused on? Nancy Guthrie. And I think that's an interesting conversation, because within it, maybe there's some truth, maybe there's not, is the question, and do you believe that we are being fed a carefully curated set of information, not just in this story, but with other stories, so that we are feeding on what they want us to feed on versus going out and finding out what's true?
I'm sure. Yes, I think that does happen. Is this particular story that? I mean, it would make sense if it were to be.
Mm-hmm.
My personal thoughts are, I think Savannah being, she is a liberal, isn't she?
But yes.
Yeah, I think her probably being one of the. I guess they kind of see her in terms of the media outlets, particularly the liberal ones. They see it as one of their own,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why it's getting so much attention as it is. Because if this wasn't the mother of such a popular, famous person, it would not be in the headlines like it is right now. So I don't know whether it's intended to be like that or not, which that does happen. The liberal media outlets do try to pivot to other stories to distract from what we really should be talking about. But whether this is that or not, that is effectively what it's doing, because we're not talking about, other successful things or the SAVE Act, like you said. It's, wall-to-wall coverage on this. So
it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Because what it did for me was make me stop and think, how many things are out there, because we're just so used to the narrative that now we're going and looking for stories because it's our job. We are sifting everything through the filter of, is that true? we're sifting through, and y'all are too. When you see something, you go, maybe. We don't buy it immediately. But I do think the takeaway from that could be moving forward. How often do we throw some red meat out so we look over here instead of over here at what they're doing?
Yeah, quite often.
I think often as well.
Yeah.
I don't know that this is true in this case, but it is an interesting thing to consider. And the other interesting thing to consider, along with the narrative that supports that idea, is, did you guys see the story about Apple News?
No.
And I believe that, let me find it, but I'm going to say somewhere of upwards of 400 stories. They went through 400 stories, and they were all liberal leaning. Of all the reporting they did on their Apple News site, which is apparently the #1 news site that people go to. I did not know this. This is news to me.
Get it.
See what I did there? But they were all liberal. Now, what I don't love is the government is deciding whether or not to get involved and tell them, you must only report on conservative. You can't just do liberal stories because it makes us upset and we're the government. I'm not a fan of that either. But I do think it's interesting that people were looking at Apple News and how quite liberal it is. Like, all the stories were left-leaning. None of them were conservative. None of them came from our point of view. But okay, I'm aware. JP, now you're aware. We're all aware. Okay, so what do you do? Like, is it the government's job to get involved? I don't think so.
No. I mean, do you get the Apple News headlines, like the notifications on your phone?
I used to, but I turned them off.
I do now. And I've always known that they've been left-leaning, but just real quick, I'll read the last two I got, both today and yesterday. Confusion over who's invited to Trump's meeting with governors, how a DHS shutdown could affect you, and more of the week's most read politics stories. And then the other one is, this one's telling. The EPA said it would repeal its 2009 finding that greenhouse gases harm the environment and endanger public health, a move that could upend climate policy. So it's pretty clear that, yeah, I think what you're saying is true, but I just ignore it. But I don't think it's the government's job to get involved and force them to cover it a certain way. I just think everybody's got to find their news outlet that they trust, which we appreciate our listeners that's our show. But no, I don't think the government should get involved. Just do what I do. I see it and ignore.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think the government should get involved. It was actually a study by the Media Research Center, 620 story sample, curated articles. None of them were right-leaning. None of them at all. It's not the government's job to get involved, but it would explain why people are fomenting at the mouth about ICE.
Right.
Why they are showing toxic, suicidal empathy towards stories that in the past we go, that's dumb.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. Because if it's the most popular news site and we can't even hold conversations with people anymore because Apple News said so, maybe we should stop and think about, who are we getting our news from? But I disagree with the reports I heard that the government wanted to do something. No, thank you. I pass on that. I don't think y'all do a great job of helping us out. Do you?
No, I don't.
I mean, thanks.
Well, so the
hard pass.
There's two aspects of it, too, like you said. I mean, there's intelligent people who can garbage in, garbage out of what they know is nonsense, and they go and find what they think, or at least they feel is fair. And I mean, if you want biased news, like if you want to go to opinionated conservative outlets, then that's your prerogative to do that. But I think for the most part, people who are intelligently looking for the truth, they just want to go and find objective relaying of information, and then the listener can discern for it themselves. But there's a large part of America that they aren't as, and I hate to say it this way, they're not as intelligent. They're not as willing to go and find the truth for themselves. If you just put it in front of their face, then they're going to believe it, or they're going to get swayed one way or the other, so that when they get the Apple News headlines about, I don't know, something anti-ICE, how Trump is putting his weight on states and governors by forcing ICE in, and Nazi Gestapo regime, that they are, without even knowing it, being propagandized and being brainwashed to be sort of the fighters for the left, like the common day people that see that and go and protest and interfere with ICE. So I do think there is a part of it where people are being deliberately brainwashed by that sort of stuff because they can't discern truth. They just see it and they believe it. And that is a problem.
Yeah. Big problem. Big. So interesting. Just something that caught my attention in 2 stories dealing with the news. Okay. JP, when we come back, let's do text.
Okay.
How about that? And then I'm going to tell you a story that I don't know you knew about. This is a shock because it's a sports story. And, we've got JP in sports today. Okay. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back.
Doomers and these black pillars. And then you see these emails released. It's like, hey, knucklehead, I can see pictures of Prince Andrew over a girl. I can see emails of Epstein talking to people about underage girls. I can see Epstein talking to all these people. All I'm saying is that shouldn't be the end of it. Okay. So if you're going to say, well, you don't know what I know. Well, I saw the files that I'm sure you saw. And if you're saying that's not worth another investigation and we just need to move on, then I don't even know what to say to that.
Have y'all ever heard the term cute aggression? I have never heard this term, but it's a legit thing. It's a normal emotional reaction where someone feels a sudden urge to squeeze, pinch, or say exaggerated things like, I could just eat you up, when they see something extremely cute, such as a baby, a puppy, or a kitten. Even though the word aggression is in the name, it doesn't mean you want to hurt them. But psychologists think cute aggression is your brain's way of balancing overwhelmingly positive emotions. When you feel something is too adorable, your emotional response spikes so high that the brain adds a tiny counter feeling, aggression-like energy, to regulate it.
That makes sense.
I had no clue, but think about that. Like your aunt is like, oh, you're just so cute. Or you see a baby and you're like, I just want to eat you up.
Yes.
I didn't know that was an actual thing. Didn't know that 3 Alabama congressmen voted this week to fund child mutilation, DEI initiatives, and abortions paid for by your tax money. Robert Adderholt, Mike Rogers, and Dale Strong of Alabama all voted against Amendment number 2, which would remove these initiatives from HR 7148. It was brought by Ralph Norman of South Carolina, who is actually one of my favorite congressmen. He said, hey, let's pass the bill, but can we just take these things out? And those 3 from Alabama voted to keep your tax dollars paying for those things. I don't know about y'all, but there's lines in the sand for me. If you're going to call yourself a conservative, if you're going to call yourself a Republican, those are lines you don't cross. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if they're compromised. I don't know if they like child mutilation, but it is unacceptable that these 3 voted for this. You need to call their offices and let them know how you feel. If you live in their district, need to reverse course here because this isn't looking good.
What if everything we think we know is wrong? Hey y'all, it's Abs with Rightside. And during this Black History Month, perhaps you've heard me talk about my quest on the show, but I'm on a quest to find out what's true. Because if we've interacted with what isn't true, then we have to stop and ask why. What we think matters because it affects the way we behave. And if we've been told things that aren't true by people who have nefarious intentions so that they can capture us and get us to do what they want, rather than us living freely, not as victims, not in need of perpetual handouts, wouldn't that change everything? Wouldn't that set us free? Here's my first recommendation. Chad O. Jackson he's got several documentaries. One is Uncle Tom 1 and 2. Start there. Or check out Chad O. Jackson in History Revelata. I've started the MLK series only on episode 1 and my mind is blown. Consider Vince Everett Ellison, who's written among other books, The Iron Triangle. It will blow your mind. Or Daryl Harrison and Virgil Walker with Just Thinking. They have several episodes on Black history, BLM, etc. I want to know the truth because the truth matters. I'll see you soon.
Am I the only one that's sick and tired of a bunch of yeah buts from our Republicans in Congress? Yeah, we voted to keep gender mutilation and abortions and DI initiatives all paid for by your taxpayer dollars in the resolution to continue funding the government. But it included, some other stuff that it's really complicated and nuanced and you wouldn't understand. Or how about, we voted to keep funding $5 billion to refugee welfare in this resolution to keep funding the government as well. But it's actually not adding any new immigration and it's upholding current law and President Trump wanted us to pass it. It's all pathetic and insane. If you're a Republican in Congress and you are voting for this crap and you lash out on your constituents that are calling it out, then the problem is not us, the problem is you. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go look up Amendment number 2 to H.R. 7148, which was an amendment to withdraw gender mutilation, abortions, and DEI initiatives from this resolution.
Hello and welcome back. You know what I can't do at the same time, JP?
What's that?
Well, I'm texting my husband at right now, and we're sending something to somebody. And I realize I can't see when I'm texting anymore. That is very upsetting.
Uh-oh.
And that makes me that loses. How many of y'all can multitask? This is what I want to ask. How many of you are good at multitasking? I feel like I used to be good at it. I don't know if I am anymore. I think I'm losing woman points. Okay. I am. I'm multitasking. That was terrible. Normally I can just type away, talk to you, but I was so upset that I couldn't see the letters.
Well, I'm a Zoomer, so I'm a master multitasker, but that's just because I'm a Zoomer.
I even took the multitasking checklist test.
What is that?
There's a test. We're going to take it today.
Okay.
And it's online, and we're going to be able to go through it and see if you're an actual multitasker. I was almost right at the line where I crossed over into being a true multitasker, but just now, based on what I just did, not so much anymore.
I will say though,
new classes.
while you were texting, you weren't even looking at me, and you saw when I pointed at you to go.
See?
So
okay, all right. So it's not as bad.
No.
Okay, all right. First, text.
If you want to text in, let us know your thoughts during the show. That number is 833-687 and 4448 or 833-68 right, RIGHT, right. Lisa from Huntsville says, last week I went to pick up a race packet. What's a race packet?
Running race packet?
Oh, maybe. And the numbers had not been pre-assigned. I was assigned number 13 and my husband was number 14.
Oh.
They did ask me if I wanted to swap numbers. I told them no, that I needed to get over being superstitious. However, if it had been 666, we would have had a definite problem.
Yes. That's right.
Clint from Tony says, I'm afraid that the Nancy Guthrie story is simply a diversion tactic from the left for I don't know what.
Okay. Yes. I'm glad I'm not the only one. When I saw that, I was like, this actually feels right to me. Okay, carry on.
Rich from Huntsville says, or not Huntsville, excuse me, Rich from Muscle Shoals. Inside job. I thought from the get-go. Talking about Nancy Guthrie.
You know what? Rich from the Shoals, are you Colbert side? What side are you? I thought probably about 2 days ago, and maybe this little bit that I found on X from Ann, whatever her name is, Vendor Wool, rang true with me because it feels like it is very inside job-ish. I don't want to believe that, but my spidey senses tell me it feels like an inside job. It just does. I could be wrong. I'm willing to be wrong. I want her to be alive.
Me too.
But it feels very curated.
By the way, Rich says he's on Colbert's side.
Hello, neighbor.
Let's see. Here's another one. Unnamed texter says Savannah Guthrie wrote a children book and an adult book. Mostly what God does is love you is the children book. The other book is mostly what God does. The other book, mostly what God does, the adult book.
Interesting.
Huh.
I didn't know that.
Me neither. Michael from Malton says, Apple is horrible. Like JP, I just ignore the notifications also. And it sucks because for people to get the truth, it can be an uphill battle for sure. There are people that never saw thousands of people per day underneath miles of Texas interstate bridges that just say you're automatically crazy and making stuff up if you mention it. And Fox News is crazy too. And you're stupid for watching it. Quotes.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. See?
Yeah.
Well, we use this phrase yesterday, but even with Apple, even with the 680 left-leaning bits of information that they're assaulting people with, we have our head, we are logical, and so we have to be truth ambassadors and just say, is that really true? Like you and I know that's ridiculous. I'm not even going to pay attention. Unless it's the weather, I'll pay attention.
Yeah.
Or a sports score because it's math and you can't, those are the numbers. That's reality. But for the rest of it, we have to ask people because apparently a lot of people get their news from Apple. They now go in the low information voter category.
Lower than low information voter.
It's very distressing. At least we get to go, are you sure that's true?
Yeah.
That's what we should do, guys.
One more text here. Stephen from Athens says, do y'all know what a kiting scheme is?
You know what? I hope he tells us. That's a word that I've heard used in the past, but I would love to know more about what a kiting scheme is. It's a cheating scandal, isn't it? Check kiting?
Yep, check kiting. So I just Googled it. A kiting scheme, most commonly check kiting, is a form of bank fraud that involves exploiting the, quote, float time, the delay between when a check is deposited into one account and when the funds are actually collected from the bank on which it was drawn. This creates the illusion of a higher account balance, essentially allowing the perpetrator to access unauthorized, unsecured, and interest-free loans.
So, what do we think? That's interesting. Look, all I know is when we were first married and I needed to go to the store, it's probably not check kiting. I hope not, because now I'll go to jail. But I'd go at 3:00 to the Publix by my house because I knew that it wouldn't clear until Friday morning. So I could have like food a whole 36 hours early. I felt like that was a victory. That's not check kiting, is it? I hope not. Or is that just being smarter than?
I think that's just being smart.
Anywho, okay, we got JP on sports. We have Clown World and a lot of news. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back.
Continue funding the government. And members of our own Alabama delegation, including Dale Strong, Robert Adderholt, and Mike Rogers, all voted against it and had a bunch of yeah buts in response to that, of course. And then also go look up the $5 billion in refugee welfare that passed the House to be included in the resolution to continue funding the government, which every single member of Alabama's House voted for this. That's right. All members of our Alabama delegation in the House voted to continue funding it. Props to Tuberville and Katie Britt in the Senate, though, that voted against it. But when you call out this stuff to representatives, in our Alabama delegation, and their response is to lash out and become petty because they're simply calling this stuff out, I'm sorry. The problem is you. And I don't know, maybe you're not cut out for politics because the yeah buts, we're sick and tired of them. And all you're saying with your yeah buts is that this thing means more important than stopping funding to refugee welfare to the tune of $5 billion of your taxpayer dollars. Just saying. The Democrats, when they're in power, don't have a bunch of yeah buts. They just get stuff done for their side and destroy America. Meanwhile, when Republicans try to save America, it's just a bunch of yeah buts to continue funding the crap that Democrats want to fund. And you know what? We're sick and tired of it.
In case you missed it, Alabama, all 5 of your Republican congressmen voted last week to continue funding refugee welfare. Yes, to the tune of $5 billion. Barry Moore, Gary Palmer, Dale Strong, Robert Adderholt, and Mike Rogers, Republicans, all voted to give $5 billion in your tax dollars to refugees in America. I don't get it. With all that's going on in Minnesota, how in the world can a conservative continue to give into programs that are obviously fraudulent and being used against America? To me, this borderlines on treason, and I'm not trying to be dramatic, but we are not representing American people anymore. When we're $39 trillion in debt, and we're giving billions still to people that aren't even American citizens. And here's the worst part. Probably your congressman, if you call and ask why they voted for House Resolution 7006, they're going to say, well, there were some really good things in there for America. We had to vote for it to continue this program. Well, that's like me coming up to you and right before I punch you in the face saying, you're really pretty and really nice. It doesn't work. Like at some point, we have to stop giving money to the people that hate us, to the things that are going to destroy this country. And why these five, the three of them I get, but Barry Moore and Gary Palmer, I'm so confused. I have no clue why they wouldn't stand up, because 24 Republicans voted against this bill. Why didn't they? It's not like they'd be the only ones. And even if you are the only one, do the right thing.
And it is a big deal because one of the most popular podcasters in the world, Sean Ryan, was told to stop talking about this story.
Last week, I received a demand letter from lawyers representing Kanakuk Ministries, a Christian summer camp in Missouri. They're threatening to sue me for defamation because of something I said on my podcast with Congressman Ro Khanna,
which smacks of arrogance and more abuse. Because there are plenty of people who've come forward to talk about it. I was looking, so these camps, there's a lot of people that have been at these camps, Allison Sinclair, like a lot. 500,000 over the years.
Are you talking about
in general, like over all these years?
Or you mean Kanakuk camps?
Kanakuk camps, okay, since 1926 has hosted more than 500,000 campers and 50,000 staffers in Missouri and its many international locations. These stories that we heard about happened in Missouri.
It's in Branson, right?
And yes, in Branson, Missouri. And it's a sports camp. Like it's a fun evangelical sports themed camp. Is that fair to say?
I don't know that.
Well, ish.
It's just where all the cool kids go.
Yeah. Well, Peter Newman, who was one of the camp's directors, years ago pleaded guilty to sexually abusing 6 boys. But since then, the camp has touted itself as a leader in child safety, holding seminars, etc. Except interviews with dozens of victims and former camp employees reported that they didn't seek justice for the victims. They prioritized ministering to those accused of wrongdoing.
Hey, Lindsay, why don't you just admit that you're gay and then people won't blackmail you anymore?
Start shooting. Just start shooting. Honestly, at this point, you don't have anything to lose because they're already going to shoot you for doing nothing. Start shooting back. I don't know.
Stop it. Get some help.
Abortion is an act of love. Abortion is an act of love.
Abortion is an act of love. When I first heard the slogan that abortion is an act of love, I retracted just a little. And then I started thinking about my sister's story. And I started thinking about individual case stories and saving lives and saving futures. That abortion can be the most loving act that we can have.
I beg your pardon?
Is it the position of the ACLU that people should have to be U.S. citizens in order to vote in Arizona's elections?
It is the ACLU's position that voting should be fair and accessible and to everyone who is eligible.
That would be a U.S. citizen.
That doesn't make sense.
Donald J. Trump calling Thomas Massey a moron at the National Prayer Breakfast. That's the thing. It was this morning.
Hello, and welcome back to the 3 o'clock hour of Rightside Radio. I am Amy Beth Shaver with JP. So what we're going to do, and if you want to play along, it is called Lab in the Wild. I'm serious right now. Lab in the Wild multitasking test. JP and I are going to take it off and on and report our results at 3:30 right before we do JP on Sports. Okay. Also, right before I announce a story that maybe you've seen, maybe you haven't. JP, do not go look for this sports story that has to do with somebody from Alabama.
Okay.
And their commentary. I'm kind of excited about this. But it's Lab in the Wild if you want to take a multitasking test to see if you are a multitasker. Who knows? Who knows? But before we do that, let's talk about Cory Booker and this guy who is being grilled, Jeremy Carl. I don't know who Jeremy Carl is, except that he is being interviewed for a job publicly before a Senate committee, right? And so, JP, if you wouldn't mind, is there a way to get to that clip of Cory Booker talking to Jeremy Carl? Because they're making smears about him. And it's interesting because they're misplaced based on information that I've just come across.
Yeah, let me go find it real quick and I'll let you know when it's ready.
Okay. Because basically the question from Cory Booker to Jeremy Carl was, do you actually believe in the Great Replacement theory? Now, you and I know, because we're paying attention, that there was a Great Replacement report put out by the UN in March of 2000.
Yeah.
I have it. And I even used it in an article I've written in the past about the Great Replacement migration, Great Replacement theory. It's not a theory. The reason this matters, also because you know this, has everything to do with voting and the SAVE Act. Because Democrats do not want us to have secure elections. If they did, they'd have no problem with the SAVE Act, and they'd vote to make sure that American citizens were voting. They would give up the ludicrous arguments that women, Black people, and poor people are too dumb to get an ID. This is simply untrue, just based on have y'all seen the hilarious reels today? We're going to play one for you in a minute that combine both the SAVE Act and the Great Replacement theory, because one of the women in these videos brings both of these things up. It's insulting. And Cory Booker is attempting to insult a very wise man who's up for a very important job, mocking him that he might believe in the Great Replacement theory. When is somebody going to tell Cory Booker? We all know about it. You're a senator. How come you don't know about it? That's the real question.
We got the video real quick if you want to play it.
Yeah, that'd be great.
When you say that you believe in the Great Replacement theory.
Senator, thank you for that question. This refers to the intentional demographic replacement of Europeans in Europe. It was invented by Renaud Camus, who was a French scholar.
You think there's an active effort to, quote unquote, replace Americans right now?
Senator, I think the Democratic Party, through its immigration policies, has certainly shown signs of that.
And I don't understand that. So you are saying that if more Americans are Black or Latino Americans, that somehow weakens America because it puts whites in a minority?
Now that's funny. That's a funny statement made by Cory Booker. I don't know if y'all follow him. He's from New Jersey. He's a whole thing. He acts like this is the most ridiculous thing he's ever heard of when we're all sure it's been around because the UN put a report out about it March of 2000. You can go look it up. It's on my phone right now. You can go find it for yourself. This is not a theory. This is just the Democrats not wanting to have safe and secure elections because it's easier for them to get elected when we allow immigration, especially when it's unfettered, right? I mean, it's obvious. It's obvious that that's what this is. It's also obvious that these same people who pretend not to know about this great replacement theory, people like Christopher Rufo, who are reporting that this is the same manipulation as the debate on critical race theory. Leftists will explicitly tell you they want to abolish whiteness and then pretend to be shocked when you say they want to abolish whiteness. It's gaslighting, right? You have a woman named Taya from January 3rd of this year. One of the guys I followed, Daryl Harrison of the Just Thinking podcast, also talks about this. She's giving a presentation on pathological whiteness. How does it feel to be part of the problem? Republicans are not having these conversations. Progressives are. And then when you bring up to them what they are doing, they act like they've never heard of anything of the sort. We have to be done with this foolishness. Do we not, JP?
We do. And I saw after this, I think Chris Murphy, who, if you remember, is the senator that Katie Britt gave a talking to that one time.
Yeah.
He also had a back and forth with this guy on that. And he was like, Trump is literally trying to nominate a white supremacist, which, like you said, the Great Replacement theory is not a theory, because if you look at the demographics of so many European countries like France, Ireland, the UK, Germany, they're all trending to where the white population will be in the minority by the late 21st century. And same with America. They're trying to do the same in America. So regardless of what you think about why they're doing that or the goal in doing that, I think it's undeniable that it is happening. And the way it's happening is through unmitigated immigration. And here's the part that may be controversial, but when the foundation of America was from Anglo-Saxon Europeans, just strictly speaking, there's a certain identity and values from European culture that founded America. What would those cultures be? It'd be Christianity. It would be traditional values. It would be everything that's made America great. There's a reason America's been so great. It's because of those European values, those Western European values. So the race aspect out of it, when you import the third world and when you import 10 million illegal aliens like the Biden administration did, you are replacing Americans. You are replacing white Americans because, I mean, you can talk about the reasoning of Social Security possibly going bankrupt is one that people like to say, or maybe they want to rig elections, cheap labor, whatever it is. You're replacing white Americans with the third world. So there's just that aspect of it as well, but also the aspect of the values of the people that are coming in. And when you have criminals like Trende Aragua, you've got people that kill Laken Riley. They don't hold the same values that made America great. And so you can't detach those values from, just simply speaking, a Western European founding of America, but also up until this point, up until when the white population started to trend to eventually becoming the minority, then that's where we start to see this chaos happen. So, like, it's not a theory, it's actually happening, and it's got several really bad outcomes to come from it. And I hope we can change course, not only America, but Western Europe, and wake up to that fact.
It's true. And this also involves not being ashamed to fight back when these ludicrous conversations come up. because that's all they have. When they run out of ideas, they come up with insane ideas like abolish whiteness. The University of Minnesota's landing page is trying to re-educate white parents. There was something a few weeks ago on Harvard's, about whiteness. This is insane.
Yeah.
It's suicidal. And so for Cory Booker to be shocked is ignorant, but we cannot ourselves be ignorant of their ways and of their schemes and of what they try, because it works. We are the ones that end up holding our hands up going, oh, I'm sorry. And we can't do it. We have to call them out for their lies. And the person that is being confirmed or attempting to be confirmed, Jeremy Carl, told the truth. But you hate to see conservatives getting obliterated by know-nothings, by charlatans who are senators and who know what's happening, but they're going to keep playing the game. And what do? We back up, which reminds me of an article that I found on the Heritage Foundation that I'm not reading it, but the article talks about the fact that when we stop bending over backwards, when we decide we're tired of losing, we'll decide the moment we've decided, when we draw a line in the sand and understand power, political power, isn't evil. I thought that was a great way to put it. That is exactly our problem. We've been talking about being nice for a long time on the show, and everybody's got to be nice and kind. And we see people in the church and they're like, that's not very nice. Nice has nothing to do with it. We're a country of political power, and whoever has the power gets to do what they want. Republicans fumble the ball every time because somewhere we got the memo that if you have power, that's just not very good.
Mm-hmm.
And we become weak, like mushy cereal, weak, gross, nasty, cold, useless. But as the op-ed in the Federalist says, Republicans will keep losing until we decide power is not evil. I say, well said.
Spot on. Yeah.
So how about let's take a break. We're going to go take our multitasking test in the break, and then we'll be back.
What we do is moron no matter what it is. We could put them all together. I think, Mike, what would you say the top 5 things? Name them. We'll put them in one bill, and we'll put them before we'll get 100% vote, except for this guy named Thomas Massey. There's something wrong with him.
Why we got to be like that?
Yeah.
I guess because I thought Massey did the right thing. We were calling all of Congress out yesterday for allowing, what was it, $1.3 trillion to go to scholarships for higher education for underprivileged kids in Egypt. And that's what Trump is saying. Massey's a terrible person. Massey went through, he voted, or he put an amendment out to make it so the government can't put a kill switch on your car. Congress voted it down. The Republican majority voted it down. So why is he an idiot? And even if
well, he said moron.
I'm sorry. Is there a difference?
Probably technically, but I don't know.
Hey, Siri. What's the difference between a moron and an idiot?
According to Merriam-Webster, an idiot is a foolish or stupid person, while a moron is a mildly mentally retarded person.
Wait.
Siri said it. Okay.
Siri said retarded?
Yes, mildly retarded.
Is that because she's British?
Yeah, probably.
Mildly retarded.
She sounded so nice when she was saying
Existing housing, people that own their homes, we're going to keep them wealthy. We're going to keep those prices up. We're not going to destroy the value of their homes so that somebody that didn't work very hard can buy a home.
The whole messaging of the younger generation doesn't work hard enough to even own a home. First of all, it's awful optics, and that's a great way to lose Gen Z. So it's not great messaging. But then second off, it's just wrong. I think the narrative that my generation doesn't work hard enough to own a home, and that's why they're struggling to own homes, is just not true.
I think the enemy making the older generation the enemy is also wrong. Just like it's wrong to make the younger generation the enemy. Nobody's the enemy. Money's money. And we had better get in control of it if we want to get out of this at all. He pitted two groups against each other. That's wrong. That's not what we're for. We are for working on things we can work on so that everybody benefits. That's conservatism. And he didn't say that well.
I think instead of saying, I want all the boomers to get rich off their homes, I think he was saying, I don't want the boomers to lose their fannies when we drive housing prices down. Like, it's not that he thinks they're going to get rich off the backs of kids, even though that's what he kind of said. I'm assuming he's like, well, if we drive housing prices down, then all these people that have worked so hard and then have finally gotten there. I think what he's trying to say is, I want them to at least be able to keep the value of their home or make money. I just don't want them to lose money. And that's a reasonable thing to say.
Could we talk about the prevalence of anti-Semitism?
Yes, we can. And anti-Semitism is a real problem. It's been on the left for a really long time. There's a strain of anti-Semitism starting to emerge on the right that I think we should pay attention to. But I would say at the same time, that term anti-Semitism has become just about as useless as the term racism. We know that there are lots of people get accused of racism who are not racist. You know, there are lots of things that people will put that racist label on that are not racism at all. And the same kind of thing can happen with anti-Semitism. If you say what I said a few minutes ago, which is that Jews have to believe in Jesus to be saved, there are people who will say that's anti-Semitic. You say that Jews have to trust in Jesus to find salvation. Some people will say that's anti-Semitic. So we have to be very discerning here about what's actually being talked about. I would say that the flip side of that is if you say Jews can't be saved, for example, like Jews just can't be saved for whatever reason, that the branches on the tree of the covenant that were broken out can't be grafted back in, that would truly be anti-Semitic. If you say that Jews are uniquely malevolent and you use them as a scapegoat and blame them for all the problems, say, of Western society, or you think that, Jews absolutely run the world and control everything. I mean, there are some of these, there are people who will say things like that. That could verge over into a kind of anti-Semitism. If you refuse to acknowledge the good contributions that Jews have made, that could be a form of anti-Semitism. But a lot of things that get labeled anti-Semitism are not anti-Semitism. Criticizing the nation of Israel is not anti-Semitic. Questioning our nation's foreign policy towards Israel is not anti-Semitic. In the Bible, there's a long history of criticizing the Jewish people. Just read the prophets. Look at Jesus, look at Paul, and these are Jews who are criticizing other Jews for their unfaithfulness to God. They're not anti-Semitic. It's not an issue of race. It's an issue of covenant faithfulness. It's an issue of obedience to God.
My opponent, Nehemiah John Wall, admitted he tried to vote using a homemade fake ID. We could not be more.
Welcome back to Rightside Radio. I'm very distracted because my youngest child has dropped by. She's on her way home from college. We don't live far from here. So, hey there.
You're not a great multitasker.
I'm not a great. Okay, listen, here's the situation with the multitasking test. We hated it.
Yeah, it was pretty dumb.
Is dumb. The one that I took was, of course, on Facebook, which is why I couldn't find it. But I would say that JP's a 10 out of 10 on multitasking. JP, why are you a 10 out of 10 on multitasking? Because you are a
Zoomer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm an 8 out of 10. Okay.
We're going to go to Facebook and look up multitasking test while you're doing it.
Look up the multitasking test. Now, look, this is the kind of test that my husband's like, yeah, but if you do this, they're going to have your information. They already have our information. They already know where we are. And I'm sorry, it's Friday. We want to take a fun multitasking test. Ooh, Molly can help us find the multitasking test on Facebook. Yeah. Look up and see if you can find. Can you look on Insta? Look on Insta for us. All right. So So we're doing that.
Okay, I'm not getting what I need. I'm just getting boomer memes of I don't even know what this is. We're gonna give up. We're gonna do it later.
Are we gonna give up? All right, I'm gonna give you two options.
Okay.
Do you want to play the Josh Johnson clip that I sent you? Or do you want me to tell you what Charles Barkley said?
Okay, well, I can't take the anticipation anymore about what story this is. So
Okay.
tell me about
All
Charles.
right, this is from Yellowhammer. Okay. Charles Barkley on the NCAA. Are you going to be surprised by what he says?
Probably not.
So Charles did not hold back, because we're friends. We're not.
Yeah.
I've never met him. I saw him in Walmart one time. Chuck, my buddy Chuck.
Yeah.
So he didn't hold back when discussing the NCAA decision, the making as of late. During an appearance on The Next Round, he was asked about the Charles Bediako situation and about him being denied eligibility. And he let it be known exactly what he thinks about the NCAA right now. This is why we love Charles Barkley. I don't even know how to answer the question, to be honest with you, because the NCAA is a bunch of bumbling idiots. Barkley said, I don't know what their rules are. I don't understand how this whole thing works. I'm not sure what the NCAA is doing. I wish they would have some sort of rhyme or reason. I'm a big Nate Oates fan. Barkley went on to joke that Auburn should be awarded the victory in the game they lost to Alabama since he lost a bet to a friend, giving up $100 following the Crimson Tide's victory in Neville Arena last weekend. While Barkley bleeds blue and orange, clearly he believes in common sense as much as the Nets guy, which is so true. But he's not wrong.
No,
the NCAA is about as useful as the Alabama High School Athletic Association.
Ooh, now that's a good question. Which one is more useless, the AHSA or the NCAA? Oh, that's
a good one, isn't it?
It's close. They both suck.
They're not good. They're organizations that should run the sports, have no commentary, do your job, help make whatever's happening with NIL, make it make sense, make it simple, plug and play. But instead, they're muddying the waters, and we're all scratching our heads about the NCAA. Well, you think, wait, that sounds like the Alabama High School Athletic Association too.
And you'd be correct.
I don't know what they're doing. They're not a government organization. They set themselves up to run sports. Okay, run sports. We don't want your commentary on whether public schools and private schools should be able to play each other during the championship rounds of football, basketball, whatever. They play each other during the regular season. Why did you decide to split off? Why? And if you tell me that it's only private schools that recruit, we're going to have problems. That's ridiculous. Everybody knows. Everybody knows. Kind of like Cory Booker actually knows there is a great replacement going on. Everybody knows that public schools recruit just as well as private schools. So why can't we get either organization up and running the right way? I don't understand. I mean, at this point, I decide neither of y'all want to be run correctly. You just want to do what you want to do.
You're meddling.
What do I know?
Your content about this, a bunch of people said, oh, the private schools, they got away with this for too long.
Yeah, okay. Have you seen the public schools facilities these days? They are nicer than some colleges.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, private schools are like, can we find a bus to ride everybody around on? Anyway, both organizations need to be cleaned from top to bottom. Start fresh.
I, like President Trump, support voter ID laws while my opponent breaks them.
There's nothing here that is not very simply explained. And you have to push back immediately on the whole fake homemade ID. Well, guys, I don't have a ID maker in my basement. I don't know where that. Look, I love how he said I admitted to doing that. I'm like, well, I would never admit to that because I kind of can't because I don't even know how I would do that. I had voted one time. I had voted with a ID from the state auditor's office where I was working as a volunteer press secretary at the time. And the state auditor at the time has come out and said, he approved it, and it was professionally printed by a vendor. This wasn't, something that was fake. It wasn't something that was, had homemade or anything. And so I find these attacks very disingenuous. I find them very deceptive to the public. They're misrepresentations. They are lies. You could argue about the discrepancy of whether that ID was or was not, a valid ID to use at the polls.
But they let you vote.
Oh, all I did was ask the poll worker, does this work? They sent a copy was sent to the probate judge. The probate judge said yes, and I would vote it. Like all I did was ask a question. And so to blow this up and to accuse me of somehow being, voter fraud. Look, I was voting in my voting precinct for my vote, my constitutional right, with an ID. Whether you want to argue whether it meets the exact standards of the law or not, this was not voter fraud. And
But it was
breaking the
okayed
law,
by your probate judge.
it was okay by the probate judge. That's correct.
3 countries have sent military forces to Greenland to protect Greenland from the United States. Germany, Norway, and the UK have all sent soldiers. So to go and protect Greenland from the big bad bully, the United States, Germany sent 13 soldiers, Norway sent 2, and England sent 1 guy over there to protect Greenland from the United States.
Did they fly them over? Did they? How did they get there?
Swim.
I mean, they didn't swim, but I mean, like, did they think they'd like fly them in a whole formation? Like, we're here for you, Greenland.
So can you imagine being the one guy though? Like if you're the one soldier in the UK and you're the only one that's asked to go to Greenland.
He's the one that they're like, what are we going to do with Bill?
Just send him to
We're
Greenland.
just sending Bill to Greenland.
He drives me nuts. Maybe it's like their best soldier they got. I wonder if that's going to affect anything we do. Like, Mr. President, can I speak to you for a moment? Germany sent 13 soldiers. Norway sent 2. And the UK sent 1 soldier. And Trump's just like, we need to have a meeting.
How Paul Breyer and his team at Inspire Advisors.
You're talking like a robot.
Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto. You've heard us talk about Inspire Advisors, how Paul Breyer and his team of investment advisors.
Allison! Sorry! Okay, sorry.
Hey, y'all. You've heard us talk about investment advisors. JP, turn around. Okay. Go in the room.
Anything else to do but look at JP.
All right, don't look at JP.
Oh.
Look at the camera.
Okay.
This is our big break. This commercial is our big break. It's
not even funny. Okay.
Hey, y'all. You've heard us talk about our friends. Welcome back to Rightside Radio. I'm Amy Beth Shaver with JP on a glorious Friday. We already hope that you have the best kind of weekend doing whatever it is that you want to do. JP's going to go to Taco Casa. I feel very certain. I do. And I think after that, he's probably going to go get a slice of cheesecake at the Cheesecake Factory.
Now you're giving me ideas.
I'm meddling.
By the way,
I was meddling in sports. Now I'm meddling in what you're going to eat.
By the way, my best friend called me earlier this week when we were at Tuscaloosa or at Alabama together in Tuscaloosa. We'd go to Taco Casa all the time, and he was we were just catching up. And I was like, I'm embarrassed to tell you how many times I've gone to Taco Casa since I've been to Birmingham. He goes, how many times? And I was like, it's got to be at least 20 in like 3 months.
What do you order?
Hot chicken burrito with the queso beefy nacho.
I'm sorry. That was so fast. Hot chicken? Does it mean hot as in spicy?
Yeah. It's like sweet and spicy. But
Okay.
the queso beefy nachos are the
They're
they got the beef in the queso.
Oh no, that's yummy.
Oh man. I'm gonna have to get some after the show.
Hey, Molly, do y'all have a taco casa in Auburn?
No, because they're lame down there in Auburn. The Barners don't have a taco casa.
Oh my, what do you have? Okay. Okay. So legit places. Except taco casa is delicious. Well, someday, you know what? Next week, I'm gonna go get some of whatever food you just said, and we're gonna have some.
You have to go to Homewood.
I'll go to that's where Chris's office is.
Okay. So
Oh darn, I have to go to Homewood. Maybe I'll go, hi, honey. All right, JP, guess what time it is?
what?
It's time for JP on sports.
JP on sports!
What you got?
Sorry, we have to sit with that for a second. Okay, so I got a couple of stuff to talk about for JP on sports. The first one is kind of crazy. We haven't talked about it in a while, but I want to know your thoughts on this. Okay, have you heard about the UFC at the White House?
Yes, I have.
So for the 250th anniversary of America later this summer, there's going to be a UFC White House card where the UFC octagon will be on the South Lawn. Apparently, the fighters are going to walk out of the Oval Office to go to the cage. And Dana White said that they are not officially working on the card and like the fights and such. We've had this discussion a couple of times on the show, but as we're getting closer to it, how do we feel about fighting on the White House lawn? Do we think it's an idiocracy? Do we think it's sick, like I do? Or, what are your thoughts? Do you think it's a good look or a bad look? Here's one other thing. Apparently, the G7 summit got postponed because of this event. So the UFC is postponing the G7 summit because there's going to be guys fighting on the South Lawn. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Because it's the people's house, and because we know from history that people were allowed to kind of hang out around the White House and wait to get appointments to speak with the president. And when they would renovate the White House, they did it as fast as they could. So it was the people's house. We've lost that. Okay. It's back. I think this is just more of getting back to what we used to be. It's the people's house. If they want to fight, let them fight. It's a much better fight on the lawn than the fights that they're having at the Capitol over dumb stuff.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
That's how I
Actual
feel.
real fights.
Hey, as if I'm going to see my husband's
That's pretty cool.
Spartan mug.
That's pretty cool.
I got your mug, hon. Probably going to give it to Molly to take home. I like fighting. I don't actually watch it, but I like the idea of it. I think it's manly. Beat the crap out of each other. I don't care.
I don't know. I love it. I think it's cool. But also, there's rumors that Conor McGregor is going to be on this card.
Ooh.
Who was literally my idol from when I was a kid. Okay.
Yes.
And he's gone off the rails. Okay. He's gone down the drinking, alcohol, that sort of stuff.
Oh, wait, really?
Well, yeah. I mean, he had his own whiskey company and he liked to indulge in his own product publicly before. He hasn't fought in 4 years. And in my head, I was like, this guy's never coming back. But apparently he's posting videos of him training. He's back like sparring. And I watched that. And all the times where I was like, come on, guys, he's never coming back. And then I see these videos of him like training and he's hooked me right back in. I'm like, oh my gosh, he's coming back. White House summer this year. I don't know. It'll be pretty awesome. I think some of our listeners before we've talked about this is like, this is such an idiocracy. It's so embarrassing. I don't know. I think it's pretty sick.
I have no problem with it. If people watch it and the president enjoys it and it's something that is a novelty that may never happen again, why not? I mean, look, I want to erase the memory of Amy Coney Barrett being there. We all celebrated her and it was a whole thing with her on the balcony and there she is. And she's ended up being, let's just say, less than what we hoped for as a Supreme Court justice. Okay, I appreciate that she is a Catholic mother with a large family, but I need something like UFC fighting to erase that bad memory.
That's a good way
Okay?
to put it.
All right? It's simple. It's so simple. This is how I feel.
Well, stay tuned on what that card is going to be. But
Okay.
It's like it's giving like a Roman Empire vibe,
Yeah.
Colosseum, prime Colosseum. I think it's pretty sick. But next story we're going to talk about, we briefly talked about yesterday, and then you segued into it. All the whining about Charles Bediako and him being allowed to play, even though he's now been deemed ineligible. Did you see what Nate Oates said today about
No.
Bucky McMillan and Bruce Pearl? We're talking about Bucky McMillan, the Texas A&M coach, said, how are we going to be made right with this? We had to play against a guy that shouldn't have been playing. How is this going to be made right to us? And Bruce Pearl was saying how, Nate Oates is selfish because he's not considering other SEC or NCAA teams with allowing Bediako to play. Well, he was asked about it today, and he said, quote, "I'm glad I read my Bible every morning." Before talking about this sort of stuff.
He said that.
He did, yeah. Which, I don't know. I'm going to say it again. Okay, the judge made his ruling. Now he's not going to be allowed to play. But if all of these other coaches that are whining, if they were in Nate Oates' position, if they want to say that they wouldn't do the exact same thing, they are a liar. If you're in a situation where a former player of yours wants to come back after he's gone pro and play, and you believe that the precedent has been set with other teams with pro players coming back, and it's going to make you a better team and give you a better chance to win, do you think for a second they wouldn't do the same thing?
No.
If they were in the same shoes?
No, of course we would. We would do this. Well, Republicans may not, because we're always like, well, that's not very nice.
That's true.
But in sports, yes, if they're doing it to you, then, and it's legal, why not?
It was legal at the time. There was a temporary restraining order, so it was fully legal at the time. But I understand now, okay, the judge has made his ruling. But up until that point, dude, you do whatever it takes to win.
Which it just proves how much we need the NCAA to be reformed. Like, get your life together, because these kinds of things will keep happening because you're letting it happen. Also, may I just ask a question? Why does it seem, or maybe it's just that I'm paying attention now, why does it seem that coaches today are whinier than they've ever been? Or is that just me?
No, I think that's true. I don't know why. That's a good question. I think probably in the age of social media, you got like the Lane Kiffins of the world that are, I mean, they are celebrities to a higher scale than they used to be. But I don't know. There's been so many people. Well, okay, well, here's the contrast of it. I don't know if you saw Chris Beard, who's the Ole Miss coach. He actually apparently, before Alabama played Ole Miss, he apparently wrote Charles Bediako a letter. He gave it to Nate to give to Charles, and Nate talked about it. So there's not all of them that are being whiny babies, but Bruce Pearl is a whiny baby. I'm just going to say that. I can't stand that guy. Okay. He's not even coaching anymore, and he's still getting on my nerves. I don't know. In my opinion, you do whatever it takes to win and forget everybody else.
I wonder what our listeners think about that.
What, me calling Bruce Pearl a whiny baby?
No. What do they think about the whole situation? What do they think about now that Bediako can't play? Is that fair? Do they think the NCAA needs to be reformed? Like, what do they think about this? And yes, to your question, do they think Bruce Pearl is a big whiny baby?
Two-part question. Should the NCAA be reformed? And is Bruce Pearl a big, fat, whiny baby? Sorry, I added in fat. Probably not very nice.
I mean, just asking.
Yeah, I'm just asking.
I see you, War Eagle. I see you. Look, our heart and our money are at Auburn. So this is what we're going with. Truly. But I want to know what you guys think, because as usual, you're bringing us winning stories that are very interesting, JP, on sports.
Thank you. I'll just say this one last bit. If any of my kids want to go to Auburn, I'll say the same thing my dad told my brother. If you go to Auburn, you won't get a dime from me. I was sitting there when he said that.
Really?
Yes. My older brother was like, oh, all my friends are going to Auburn. I may do that. And my dad said, son, if you go to Auburn, you're not getting a single dime from me for anything.
Wow. Okay. I do have a friend, and maybe we'll try to get him on soon, who I don't think he moved his son in and then never went back.
Really?
Yeah. He may have gone back for graduation, but he feels very similarly to your dad.
That's funny.
Okay.
Well, We do
JP.
have to say how JP on Sports Every Week is brought to you by Inspire Advisors. Paul Breyer and his team at Inspire Advisors, you got to go check them out if you haven't already. They are experts in this thing called Biblical Responsible Investing, or BRI, where they make sure that your portfolio is in line with your biblical values. So you're not investing in companies that are pro-LGBTQ or abortion or whatever, anti-Christian values. They make sure that's not the case. So you need to go check them out. That's Paul Breyer and his team at Inspire Advisors. www.moneypatternwealth.com. That's moneypatternwealth.com. Go check out Inspire Advisors and he'll get you right today.
All right.
And we'll be right back. Howdy, y'all.
Hey, you've heard us talk about
Gang,
Inspire
gang.
Advisors. We'll get it, JP. Just don't give up on us.
That's funny. You should do it like Marge.
Okay. Hey, my friends. You've heard us talk about Inspire Advisors. How Paul Breyer and his team at Inspire Advisors will help you grow your investment portfolio while also screening out companies that don't match your Christian values.
Paul and his team are experts at what we call biblically responsible investing. And they are offering a free class for a limited time just for you. You're up.
Check out the class and register for free at www.moneypatternwealth.com. It's godly. It's conservative. It's financial freedom.
Again, you go to Inspire Advisors at www.moneywealthpattern.com and check them out and tell them Rightside sent ya. What is that?
We'll do it afterwards.
There are those in the immigrants' rights community who have argued passionately that we should simply provide those who are illegally with legal status, or at least ignore the laws on the books and put an end to deportation until we have better laws. And often this argument is framed in moral terms. Why should we punish people who are just trying to earn a living? I recognize the sense of compassion that drives this argument. But I believe such an indiscriminate approach would be both unwise and unfair. It would suggest to those thinking about coming here illegally that there will be no repercussions for such a decision. And this could lead to a surge in more illegal immigration. And it would also ignore the millions of people around the world who are waiting in line to come here legally. Ultimately, our nation, like all nations, has the right and obligation to control its borders and set laws for residency and citizenship. And no matter how decent they are, no matter their reasons, the 11 million who broke these laws should be held accountable.
What is the bigger threat to America right now, American values, American life? Islamophobia or jihad?
I think we have to focus, quite frankly, on, if we're worried about the threat to American values, on the person who's in the White House.
What an idiot!
Sometimes people come up to me and whisper, does it matter if we don't believe in the virgin birth?
No, it doesn't matter in the UCC for sure. There are some Christians to whom it really matters. But in the UCC, we feel like the most important thing about Jesus is paying attention to how he lived his life. And the details around his birth are things that we can find meaning in, but the meaning might be symbolic.
What?
Hannah Moore believes she and other SNAP recipients should be able to go into the grocery store and buy whatever they like. Soda, candy, prepackaged sweets, prepared desserts, and juice with less than half of natural fruit or vegetable juice in it.
It's not even cool. Like, why they do that? What's the point of food stamps if it's just for real food?
That doesn't make sense.
Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh. All the fields we go, laughing all the way.
You people, this is golf! A rock concert!
Why are you going home?
I got sent home for suggesting we do a nativity this year. Apparently I'm Islamophobic.
And what's for lunch?
All they sell is curry now, thanks to Labour and the illegals.
We all know the story, right? 1955, Montgomery, Alabama. Rosa Parks, she's this tired seamstress. She refuses to give up her seat to this white guy. Rosa.
Welcome back to Rightside Radio. I'm Amy Beth Shaver with JP. We are going to look at your text, but I know we asked the question about Bruce Pearl and reforming the NCAA and your thoughts. So we'll do that first, but I do have a question, and it was generated by Conor McGregor and his alcoholic beverages. I have a question.
Okay.
So let's do text first because I don't want to. Sorry, that was my foot on a bottle of water. That sounded terrible.
That sounded like you just squished like somebody's neck or something like.
It's bad.
Merle from Hartsel.
Hey, Merle.
Says, yes, NCAA needs reformed, have already been. Pearl does complain a lot, but so do a lot of others. The difference is he has a spotlight on him, even though he wasn't in coaching now. If he was at Alabama, he won't be in spotlight as much. Laughing about, okay, I see what you did there. I wouldn't have read that if I would have read the text before. This guy. Joe from Athens talking about the UFC at the White House says, it's entertainment.
It is. That's all it is.
I agree.
Why not?
And then Cooter from Huntsville said, hey, JP, what? I can't say it. Physically can't say it.
Okay. You can't say
it for me.
War Eagle.
Okay, that's what he said. Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry, JP.
I like to play it up. It's not that dramatic.
Okay. All right. You ready for my question?
Yeah, go ahead.
This is your question.
Uh-huh.
Now, it would not be alcoholic beverages because if you indulge in that, then you end up like Conor McGregor and you get yourself in trouble. Okay. Because you had access to excess. And so are we surprised? But what if you could pick a food or beverage item, not alcoholic, a food or beverage item that was yours that you were known for? What would it be?
I think you know my answer.
But there are two. There could be two answers.
That's true. I don't know.
Like this is your thing. You get to rep them.
Like my face is like on the box.
Your face is on the box. Your face is over everything. It's all you. What is it?
JP's cheesecake.
I knew you were going to say that.
That'd be one.
Okay. You can have another one. I mean, it's a free country.
If I want to go, if I'll go, that being my food and then my drink, man, it'd probably be like an energy drink. It'd be like my own version of Monster.
It would 100%.
It would be like my own version of Monster.
Okay.
Well, what would yours be?
Coffee.
Okay.
Okay. Fair. Coffee. And then food item. This is where it gets a little tough because I like so many things. Probably my go-to. This is going to surprise you. Have you ever had Brewster's ice cream?
Oh, yeah.
Reese's peanut butter cup is my favorite, but just that soft serve to make the Reese's peanut butter cup or the cookie dough, probably Brewster's, or there's a pizza shop near our house, the one I've told you about. We need to have a meeting there. Authentic pizza. It would be pizza.
I do love me some pizza.
Boy, pizza's good. Now, I kind of thought maybe you would say Taco Casa, but the cheesecake, I just knew it.
We got to get them to sponsor the show. Maybe if I talk about them enough, we can get like free samples on the show, and they can sponsor the show.
It's so good. You know what I had last night that I've never had before?
What's that?
Tres Leches cake.
Oh yeah.
At Chewy's, who also should be another sponsor.
That they should.
It was outstanding. I've never had that. 3 milk cake. It's white cake. It was good.
The last time I've heard of Tres Leches, Emily Hayes, if you're listening to the show, it's when Emily Hayes was making a call to action to the audience to find her a Tres Leches cake because her daughter wanted it for her birthday and she couldn't find it anywhere. I've never had it, but when I'm looking at it right here, it looks pretty good.
It's good. I'd like to tell you, the friend that I was with last night said, no, you have to try it. And then when we tried it, the people at the table next to us stopped us and asked us, what is that? And we said it's Tres Leches cake.
Chewy's is great. For our Huntsville listeners, let me know, is the Chewy's in Huntsville back in commission? Because there was a fire there last time I was in Huntsville and it was out. But I'm wondering if it's back. The Chewy's in Huntsville on the Parkway is great.
Well, you know what? I've not been to that one, but I've been to ours plenty of times. And my oldest daughter made sure that we all learned how to make the creamy jalapeno dip at home. That's how much we love that dip. It is outstanding.
There's nothing much better than Mexican food. I mean, if we're going to just talk about food the rest of the minute and a half, let's just do it. Okay, Mexican food's up there for me in terms of favorites.
Is that your number one?
It's I don't know if it's number one, but well, it could be. It's probably like 1A. There's probably maybe a couple of others.
Okay, well, what's 1B?
I mean, pizza is probably 1B. Mexican and pizza, and then I love me some like hibachi.
Same.
It's great.
It's so good. Does Huntsville have what are their great hibachi restaurants?
Okay. I may get some slack for this one because they've had some issues in the past. There was I think there was a dead deer in the garbage and the dump at this place once. There were some complaints about roaches, but Ichiban in Huntsville,
so good.
It's great. It's great. And it's very busy. But there were some I remember when that happened. There were some Facebook posts about it, but it's great. Ichiban in Huntsville.
No, there's always some suspicious things going on at restaurants. It can't always be perfect. We got to give them a little slack. If the food that they present is clean and good and delicious, why not? Is what I say.
What about you? What's your top 3 genres of food?
Same as yours.
The exact same?
Yeah.
I knew
exact
we were
same.
similar.
We're so similar. It's frightening. No, exact same. But when I married Chris and we moved back to town, some nights when the kids were little, he'd say, get in the car. It's going to be Brewster's for supper. I'm like, kids, marry somebody like that. Who's like, we're going to eat ice cream for dinner.
That's true.
That's fun.
I will say one last food. I wouldn't put it in my top 3, but whenever I'm like in the mood for a good steak.
Oh yeah.
It's just one of those foods where like if we're talking, I'm done talking until I'm done with my medium rare steak.
Are you a Ruth's Chris guy?
Ruth's Chris is good.
I mean, there are several.
Yeah,
we have Perry's in town, which is really, really good. But I've learned of some new restaurants that we're apparently supposed to try. Anyway, okay, look, there's more news on the other side. I promise. Clown World, and then Would You Rather, as always. We'll be back.
A calculating revolution.
Y'all have heard us talk about Inspire Advisors, how Paul Breyer and his team at Inspire Advisors will help you grow your investment portfolio while also screening out companies that don't stand for conservative Christian principles.
Paul and his team are experts on what they call biblically responsible investing. And for a limited time, they're hosting a free class that you can register for.
Check out the class and register for free at moneypatternwealth.com. It's godly, it's conservative, and it's financial freedom.
Again, go to Inspire Advisors at moneypatternwealth.com. Check them out and tell them you heard about them at Rightside Radio.
Whose actions were part of this broader left-wing conspiracy, but the myth that we're all taught is designed to hide this and the radicalism that created it so that we're taught, some feel-good narrative when we're in kindergarten.
You look at MLK and Stanley Levison, who was the CFO of the Communist Party of America, who used Martin Luther King. I mean, he wrote part of the I Have a Dream speech, and he kind of saw MLK as a tool or puppet. Why is there a communist tie-in into all of it? It's just strange to me. It's almost like just like today, like there needed to be a fighting and a racial war almost for them to try to implement what they wanted to implement. So it's strange.
It is my observation that the communists were using the civil rights movement as one more attempt to control the population, because it is their belief that communism can't succeed without first socialism succeeding. And so I think that their point was revolution.
What's different about Minneapolis versus the civil rights movement is that the civil rights movement needed to happen. I don't know if it needed to happen that way. Don't remember communism coming out of it or socialism. But is that the end result of what happened?
I think the end result, if you take communism by its definition of seizing the means of production, what they ended up seizing were our classrooms and our textbooks, and being able to tell a narrative that has spun in their favor.
That's good, Abs.
That's good. It's coffee.
Still thinking.
You know, that is getting unwound, and it's time, because there's so much we know that's not true, not just about this, but about many other things. But I think that was what they were able to do. And so now they're reproducing other agitators in other areas of our society.
You're so smart.
We shall discuss Jeffrey Epstein, starting with Kash Patel saying there was no evidence of any children being abused. Essentially, this is what he says: we have been lied to. That is my big takeaway.
I do want to add the Deputy Attorney General Blanche. He not only said physical abuse, but he said death, physical abuse, and injury, which means what?
There was death, physical abuse, and injury.
But you put out something like this in regards to Jeffrey Epstein, and they're talking about this, my ears perk up, and I'm like, maybe Jen Caviezel wasn't absolutely crazy. It's all kind of starting to come together. And then all the stuff, does anybody have the Pizzagate stuff? Everybody thought those people were nuts too. And I think Pizzagate, if you read through these texts, emails, is real.
For too long, not all the pastors, but some of our pastors told us that Christians shouldn't be involved in politics. This is what happens when you abdicate the responsibility for being a civil magistrate, our God-given duty. This crap is what happens when we go, yep, y'all do it. We're just going to hang on till Jesus comes back. This is why it matters that we are involved in politics right here.
The mountain of circumstantial evidence in these files is amazing, to say the least. Bongino made his big return to his podcast today, and his whole, these people are talking about Epstein and the files. They don't even know. They didn't see what I saw. They don't even know what they're talking about. And there's these doomers and these black pillars. And then you see these emails released. It's like, hey, knucklehead, I can see pictures of Prince Andrew over a girl. I can see emails of Epstein talking to people about underage girls. I can see Epstein talking to all these people. All I'm saying is that shouldn't be the end of it. Okay. So if you're going to say, well, you don't know what I know. Well, I saw the files that I'm sure you saw. And if you're saying that's not worth another investigation and we just need to move on, then I don't even know what to say to that.
Have y'all ever heard the term cute aggression? I have never heard this term, but it's a legit thing. It's a normal emotional reaction where someone feels a sudden urge to squeeze, pinch, or say exaggerated things like, I could just eat you up, when they see something extremely cute, such as a baby, a puppy, or a kitten. Even though the word aggression is in the name, it doesn't mean you want to hurt them. But psychologists think cute aggression is your brain's way of balancing overwhelmingly positive emotions. When you feel something is too adorable, your emotional response spikes so high that the brain adds a tiny counter feeling, aggression-like energy, to regulate it.
That makes sense.
I had no clue, but think about that. Like your aunt is like, "Oh, you're just so cute," or you see a baby and you're like, "I just want to eat you up."
Yes.
I didn't know that was an actual thing.
Didn't
know that 3 Alabama congressmen voted this week to fund child mutilation, DEI initiatives, and abortions paid for by your tax money. Robert Adderholt, Mike Rogers, and Dale Strong of Alabama all voted against Amendment number 2, which would remove these initiatives from HR 7148. It was brought by Ralph Norman of South Carolina, who is actually one of my favorite congressmen. He said, hey, let's pass the bill, but can we just take these things out? And those 3 from Alabama voted to.
Welcome back to Rightside as I put my water bottle on the ground. How are y'all? So it's time for a segment we love because we do it only on Friday. Okay. And after this segment, we have quite a bit of Alabama news and news in general to get to because we need to go back and talk about January 6th and people finally admitting what we've known for a long time, that it was staged. And I have a bit of an article I wanted to share with you from John Solomon, who has the Just the News website, which I commend to you. But first, we have Clown World.
White people do not inherently have empathy, and it's something that I've talked about for more than a year. And one of the reasons is because it has not been modeled. If you look at the epigenetic nature of white folks, especially European Americans, white American people, there is this long-standing history of violence.
What? And most of us feel discomfort when we think about pedophiles. Just like pedophiles, we are not responsible for our feelings. We do not choose them.
I beg your pardon?
You just stated that the SAVE Act is an attack on civil rights and is racist. Could you just explain that further? Because 76% of Black Americans support the SAVE Act, according to CNN.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Well, we find it racist because at the end of the day, it's targeting Black communities.
But if 76% of Black Americans support voter ID,
I don't believe that 76%.
CNN reported it.
Well, that's possible.
Okay.
But I do not agree with it.
You are fake news.
In Michigan's 3rd district alone, 160,000 women could find themselves unable to register simply because when they got married, they didn't change both their ID and their birth certificate.
That doesn't make sense.
It's just stop. I want Turning Point USA to, for once in their lives, do the right thing and pay me a monthly retainer to consult them on PR. Just say no. Nope. No. Nope. Because I would have said to them, I said, look, here's what you're going to do. Blame the housekeepers. Blame the unknown housekeepers. You're rich. You've got money. A lot of money. We're talking billions from Pierre type money. Just blame the housekeeper, Erica. What? We didn't even notice that. We just had someone in to clean. I am going to fire the housekeeper. That's what I would have done. But nope, nobody pays me. Nobody pays me the big bucks.
Stop it. Get some help.
JP. I'm sorry. What was she bringing up? That was, if you weren't watching, that was Candace at the end. Candace Owens. And I do need to go back to the pedophiles. What in the world? Okay. Number one, she was trying to, the white American and our epigenetic makeup doesn't allow us to have empathy. What?
Yeah. So let's save Candace for last.
Yeah. I mean, we're just going to go in order.
Yeah.
It's going to go in order. I'm going to pause. We're going in order. Okay. At this point, do you know what was running through my mind when she said that?
What's
when
that?
That lady was talking about that. Well, now we're just going to go make up words.
Yeah.
The words that sound very full of meaning, very important, and epigenetic makeup makes people unable to be empathetic.
Do you think she knows what that means?
I don't. She threw it out there with confidence, man. I'm going to give her an A+ for verve. But what in the ever-loving world was she talking about? We're back to the conversation we had in the last hour about this whiteness that needs to be erased. That does go along with the get rid of white people, great replacement theory. It's like there's a theme, and this is their theme right now. What was she saying?
She was just essentially saying that white people are more genetically inclined to commit violence, I guess, and that white people are inherently unable to have empathy. Look at the history of white people, and we're just a violent race. Essentially, was just the crux of what she was saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sure.
Yeah, right. What was the stat you were reading? I believe it was yesterday about, they love to say how white men are the most likely to be a school shooter. They're like towards the end of the pack, even on the list that you were reading. Yeah.
Yes, it was trans men, trans women, and then it went down from there. But there were very small numbers on that chart because we were originally dealing with the trans shooter in Canada. So that doesn't even wash. It doesn't make sense. I'm sorry, but it sounds like somebody who wants to sound like they're saying something important. And really, it was a Kamala word salad.
Which, by the way, okay, one last bit on this part of the montage. But when she said that, white people are more inclined to violence, in my head, I'm thinking like, yeah, George Washington crossing the Delaware, I guess they were more inclined to violence. But guess what? The white violence you're talking about is what created America and gave you the freedom to even say such a thing. So I don't know. Maybe she's right, but guess what? That's how America was founded, okay? And that's what kickstarted the greatest nation on earth. So
no, that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
That was a great Clown World entry. It was a great Clown World montage. Okay. So, all right. Check for insanity. Check number 1. Checkity check. All right. Number 2 on the list was pedophiles who apparently, according to this, I don't know, she sounded German, at a very large event, was making it okay for pedophiles to have pedophilic feelings.
They can't control it.
They can't help it. They can't help it.
That's just not true. Okay, well, even if you want to play devil's advocate and be like, oh, well, they can control their feelings. Yeah, you also are in control of yourself, and that doesn't mean you have the right to be a pedophile. Like, I don't understand that they can't control their feelings. It's like, you can control not being a pedophile. I'm sorry. You can control not preying on kids. It's just such a but not even like, what's the point of why she's saying it? Like, what's like the whole minor attracted persons that the left and LGBTQ has tried to roll out in their vocabulary? They're not pedophiles. They're minor attracted people. They can't control it. It's like, no, they deserve to be ostracized from society. Any society that is trying to welcome in and accept pedophilia, that's like Sodom and Gomorrah level crap. Okay, so no, we're not going to give benefit of the doubt to pedophiles, and that's what they are. They're not minor attracted people. They're pedophiles, and they deserve to be killed publicly whenever. By the way,
I have no problem with that. Back to our discussion at the beginning of the week. That's firing squad level offense.
At least.
No.
Maybe guillotine.
I don't care. You hurt a child, you're out. I mean, I'm thankful that Alabama recently signed into law, like this week, if you sexually assault a child, the death penalty is on the table. Yes. This is how we stop that. In the days where I was on a speaking tour and went and spoke in high schools and churches, middle schools, about abstinence character education, I did meet somebody who was a therapist dealing with, pedophiles, sex offenders, violent sex offenders. And they said, essentially, if that is your crime of choice, that is one of the hardest crimes to stop. It's almost better for them. And this is 20 years ago. It is almost better for them to be put away.
Yeah.
Because they lack impulse control. And there's really nothing you can do. And the ones that they were doing therapy with recognize that. But the idea that somebody would stand on a stage in front of a massive crowd and make a defense for pedophiles is unthinkable. But these are the times we're living in.
Wasn't she German too?
I think she was German.
German's just turning into
I'm
a
sorry.
cesspool.
Just no. Mm-mm. Okay. Next.
What was the next part of the montage? I'm trying to remember.
I don't know if she was a senator or it was a senator.
The fake news representative. Yeah. So we can talk about those Save Act together because they kind of coincide. But I find it so funny. You know, they always make fun or they made fun of Trump in 2016 for saying whenever he saw something he didn't like, he'd say fake news. Hey, lady, 76% of African Americans in America, according to CNN, say that they support voter ID. Well, I just don't believe that.
I mean,
fake news.
It could be, but I don't believe it. It's what I loved. Masterclass for that journalist.
Right.
Using CNN's data.
Exactly.
Brilliant. Always use their data. But did you see how she initially tried to just turn and walk away
she
from
did.
her?
And then when she read the stat, she goes, "Is that true? Well, we still think it's racist."
Okay.
What do you think about the poll though? Oh, I don't believe it.
Okay. I mean, tell me a group of leaders are condescending without telling me they're condescending. You don't believe the poll because it doesn't fit your narrative and you're insulting. You are making an assumption of inferiority for your race. And you know me, I hate even the term race, but that's what they're doing. She is putting the soft bigotry of low expectations on her race. That is outrageous. It's outrageous.
And then couple that with the next lady who said that about married women.
Okay, listen, sweetie. I don't know who's going to tell you this. It's going to be me. All right, I know you're like in Michigan or something. Based on your accent, you're talking about the women. Okay, you don't ever get a new birth certificate.
Mm-hmm.
That is your name. Now, the only time you do, let me make an amendment because I am adopted. I got a new birth certificate, but it is not without trouble. Okay. But that is a legal situation that happens quickly when you're adopted. It's awesome. Okay. That is the only time that happens. And you may or may not keep your original, which may or may not. You don't know. Just depends on your circumstances. After that, it's still a birth certificate. You don't change your name on that birth certificate unless it's an adoptive situation. Don't change it. So to say that women can't do that, you're right, they can't. You take your birth certificate with your ID, and if you get married, you go and change your name that way. It's very simple. The name changes on your Social Security card after you've shown proper identification, not on your birth certificate. Okay? With love from Abs, I just want to clear that up for you.
From woman to woman.
Woman to woman. But girls on the left, if y'all could please stop treating ourselves, y'all are all for women making all the choices we want and doing if anything a man can do, we can do better. And you're telling us we can't figure out how to get our own ID? Miss us with all that. That's a fraud. It's hypocritical and it's insulting. Stop it. Again, with love from Abs.
You want to take a break and then go into Candace on the other side?
Why, yes. Okay, we'll be right back.
JP here with Rightside. I need to remind you that Inspire Advisors is one of our sponsors, and they are doing amazing work. We know this audience, and you're the kind of folks who believe in standing up for your principles and being good stewards of your resources. What if the companies you're invested in don't reflect your values at all? That's why you need to meet Paul Breyer and his team at Inspire Advisors. Inspire Advisors, they are experts in the field of biblically responsible investing. They can help you grow your bottom line while also being proud of what companies you invest in. Inspire Advisors, you got to go check them out. Here's their website, www.moneypatternwealth.com, and tell them you heard about it on Rightside Radio.
Your tax dollars paying for those things. I don't know about y'all, but there's lines in the sand for me. If you're going to call yourself a conservative, if you're going to call yourself a Republican, those are lines you don't cross. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if they're compromised. I don't know if they like child mutilation, but it is unacceptable that these three voted for this. You need to call their offices and let them know how you feel. If you live in their district, need to reverse course here because this isn't looking good.
What if everything we think we know is wrong? Hey y'all, it's Abs with Rightside, and during this Black History Month, perhaps you've heard me talk about my quest on the show, but I'm on a quest to find out what's true. Because if we've interacted with what isn't true, then we have to stop and ask why. What we think matters because it affects the way we behave. And if we've been told things that aren't true by people who have nefarious intentions so that they can capture us and get us to do what they want, rather than us living freely, not as victims, not in need of perpetual handouts, wouldn't that change everything? Wouldn't that set us free? Here's my first recommendation. Chad O. Jackson has, well, he's got several documentaries. One is Uncle Tom 1 and 2. Start there. Or check out Chad O. Jackson in History Revelata. I've started the MLK series only on episode 1 and my mind is blown. Consider Vince Everett Ellison, who's written among other books, The Iron Triangle. It will blow your mind. Or Daryl Harrison and Virgil Walker with Just Thinking. They have several episodes on Black history, BLM, etc. I want to know the truth because the truth matters. I'll see you soon.
Am I the only one that's sick and tired of a bunch of yeah buts from our Republicans in Congress? Yeah, we voted to keep gender mutilation and abortions and DEI initiatives all paid for by your taxpayer dollars in the resolution to continue funding the government. But it included, some other stuff that it's really complicated and nuanced and you wouldn't understand. Or how about, we voted to keep funding $5 billion to refugee welfare in this resolution to keep funding the government as well. But it's actually not adding any new immigration and it's upholding current law and President Trump wanted us to pass it. It's all pathetic and insane. If you're a Republican in Congress and you are voting for this crap and you lash out on your constituents that are calling it out, then the problem is not us, the problem is you. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go look up Amendment number 2 to H.R. 7148, which was an amendment to withdraw gender mutilation, abortions, and DEI initiatives from this resolution to continue funding the government. And members of our own Alabama delegation, including Dale Strong, Robert Adderholt, and Mike Rogers, all voted against it and had a bunch of yeah buts in response to that, of course. And then also go look up the $5 billion in refugee welfare that passed the House to be included in the resolution to continue funding the government, which every single member of Alabama's House voted for this. That's right. All members of our Alabama delegation in the House voted to continue funding it. Props to Tuberville and Katie Britt in the Senate, though, that voted against it. But when you call out this stuff to representatives, in our Alabama delegation, and their response is to lash out and become petty because they're simply calling this stuff out, I'm sorry. problem is you. And I don't know, maybe you're not cut out for politics because the yeah buts, we're sick and tired of them. And all you're saying with your yeah buts is that this thing means more important than stopping funding to refugee welfare to the tune of $5 billion of your taxpayer dollars. Just saying. The Democrats, when they're in power, don't have a bunch of yeah buts. They just get stuff done for their side and destroy America. Meanwhile, when Republicans try to save America, it's just a bunch of yeah buts to continue funding the crap that
Welcome back to Rightside Radio. All right, JP. I have not paid attention to Candace Owens in a while. So could you fill me in on, look, when she started going after Erica, I don't really care, but going after a grieving widow with whatever grievance you have and stealing the spotlight and making it about you is so narcissistic. I just had to stop.
Well, our weekly check-in on Candace Owens, because it's good. Nobody needs to be in consuming that content.
Okay.
It makes you unwell. But for Clown World is when we normally do our check-in. But she's just continuing on. She's not dropping the Erica Kirk attacks. So last night, actually, on her show, and I'm not privy on all of the minute details, but Candace is accusing Erica of grooming a 15-year-old. She's also she's released a video, a leaked Zoom call of like a Turning Point staff meeting on Zoom where Erica was, I don't know, she was trying to spin it as Erica was seeming a little happier than she should have been that her husband, even though she was just being Erica and like with her team, you know, a widow can't even like smile or laugh in the midst of her husband's death. So she's continuing the attacks on Erica Kirk and Turning Point USA. But I've said this all along that it's clear that I think Candace was bitter that Charlie, and I think Candace had a thing for Charlie, and I that's just me. And I think this is her grieving of as long as she's constantly on the attack against Erica and Turning Point, that Charlie is still alive and Charlie is still being talked about. So I think there's that aspect of it. But it's such a visceral attack against Erica. She's seeming like a bitter person who couldn't get Charlie, or Charlie didn't want her. I don't know, because her and Charlie used to be tight. And so she's taking it out on Erica. But it's just sad. And I don't know. Can you imagine your whole shtick? You're not fighting for, I don't know, something important like Christianizing America. You're not fighting for having influence in the right way and pushing Christianity, pushing conservatism. Your whole show is a Dateline crime show, but it's against real people with insane claims about Erica and being in on her husband's death and Egyptian cargo planes and all of this insane, all of these maroon shirts were in the crowd, but maroon shirts is what special op, people wear. So there was a bunch of special ops and Israel did it. And now Erica's grooming, like, lady, I feel bad, but I check in and it's literally like she's gone insane. But also if you watch, she constantly refers to herself in the third person as Candace, and that's a big narcissistic trait.
Wait, really?
Yeah. So I don't know. Don't watch Candace routinely if you want to keep your sanity. However, if we're going to check in on her on Clown World, it is a clown show.
Look, can you imagine if what you said is true? That you are right, because I trust your check-ins. She's spending all this energy on things that it doesn't make any sense. If she took that same energy and focused on what really mattered, like how she started out with Brexit and other really important topics, and she spent this fire and verve on those kind of things.
Yep.
Now we could use you there.
She's got talent.
She's so talented.
Yeah.
Back when she was doing really good interviews, she's a great interviewer. Also, I like her style.
Yeah.
But this,
her husband needs to get her in check. I'm sorry. Let's reach that.
Yeah, point. This hurts my heart for her. It really does. It's uncomfortable. Anyway, as usual, great Clown World montage, JP.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll come back. Let's talk about J6. Was it all staged? I don't know, but we'll be back.
To fund. And you know what? We're sick and tired of it.
In case you missed it, Alabama, all 5 of your Republican congressmen voted last week to continue funding refugee welfare. Yes, to the tune of $5 billion. Barry Moore, Gary Palmer, Dale Strong, Robert Adderholt, and Mike Rogers, Republicans, all voted to give $5 billion in your tax dollars to refugees in America. I don't get it. With all that's going on in Minnesota, how in the world can a conservative continue to give into programs that are obviously fraudulent and being used against America? To me, this borderlines on treason, and I'm not trying to be dramatic, but we are not representing American people anymore. When we're $39 trillion in debt, and we're giving billions still to people that aren't even American citizens. And here's the worst part. Probably your congressman, if you call and ask why they voted for House Resolution 7006, they're going to say, well, there were some really good things in there for America. We had to vote for it to continue this program. Well, that's like me coming up to you and right before I punch you in the face saying, you're really pretty and really nice. It doesn't work. Like at some point, we have to stop giving money to the people that hate us, to the things that are going to destroy this country. And why these 5, the 3 of them I get, but Barry Moore and Gary Palmer, I'm so confused. I have no clue why they wouldn't stand up, because 24 Republicans voted against this bill. Why didn't they? It's not like they'd be the only ones. And even if you are the only one, do the right thing.
And it is a big deal because one of the most popular podcasters in the world, Sean Ryan, was told to stop talking about this story.
Last week, I received a demand letter from lawyers representing Kanakuk Ministries, a Christian summer camp in Missouri. They're threatening to sue me for defamation because of something I said on my podcast with Congressman Ro Khanna,
which smacks of arrogance and more abuse. Because there are plenty of people who've come forward to talk about it. I was looking, so these camps, there's a lot of people that have been at these camps, Allison Sinclair, like a lot. 500,000 over the years.
Are you talking about
in general, like over all these years?
Or you mean Kanakuk camps?
Kanakuk camps,
okay,
since 1926 has hosted more than 500,000 campers and 50,000 staffers in Missouri and its many international locations. These stories that we heard about happened in Missouri.
It's in Branson, right?
And yes, in Branson, Missouri. And it's a sports camp. Like it's a fun evangelical sports themed camp. Is that fair to say?
I don't know that.
Well, ish.
It's just where all the cool kids go.
Yeah. Well, Peter Newman, who was one of the camp's directors, years ago pleaded guilty to sexually abusing 6 boys. But since then, the camp has touted itself as a leader in child safety, holding seminars, etc. Except interviews with dozens of victims and former camp employees reported that they didn't seek justice for the victims. They prioritized ministering to those accused of wrongdoing.
Hey, Lindsay, why don't you just admit that you're gay and then people won't blackmail you anymore?
Start shooting. Just start shooting. Honestly, at this point, you don't have anything to lose because they're already going to shoot you for doing nothing. Start shooting back. I don't know.
Stop it. Get some help.
Abortion is an act of love. Abortion is an act of love.
Abortion.
Welcome back to Rightside Radio. I am Amy Beth Shaver with JP.
By the way, do we know if Allison got eaten by a shark or not?
Well, she never responded.
I know. It's kind of concerning.
I'm a little, like, we don't track each other, but Just saying. How about you text us, Sinclair? I can almost guarantee she's going to text us.
Do we need to put out a mayday for where she's at?
Well, you know what she passed by?
I was just about to bring it up. I didn't know if you wanted to say it or not. But
of course I want to bring it up. Also because it's one of those places that you don't think is real until you know it's real.
I thought she was full of it.
Did you see what I texted also?
Yeah.
Seriously.
I thought it was a joke.
No, not a joke. Okay. You want to go first?
Well, we got a picture from the Sinclair who is sailing on a sailing trip until next week. She passed the island, the Epstein Island, and sent a picture from afar. And I saw it and I was like, that's a good one. And then you were like, no, she's serious. I think it was, you said your son passed it in that same area.
Yes, they did.
I was like,
they were on a basketball. We were with them, but not on this part of it. But they took some team members out to snorkel and they had to go past it. And if I could find my pictures quickly enough, he sent me a picture and he was like, Epstein Island.
That's just so crazy.
It's crazy.
Burn that island to the ground.
Let it go. We don't need it anymore. Enough wickedness happened there.
But what's crazy is the picture she sent, you could see like the building.
Oh, yeah.
Like clear as day.
Which is why I said, how about you try to sneak on the island?
Have you seen the video? Okay, we shouldn't go long on this, but have you seen the video of the TikTok guy that actually snuck on the island?
Yes, I did.
And the security came and like he had to.
Security. Yeah. That's weird. It's so weird. It's wicked. But yeah, Will said when they went past it felt weird.
Or maybe she got clipped because she sent us a picture of Epstein's Island and none of that can be. We need a wellness check on Allison. Eaten by a shark or got too close to Epstein Island.
Yeah. I mean, come on, guys. So, we don't know. We're going to wait for her to text us and tell us she's fine. We did text her at lunchtime, so we know she's okay. But here's what's not okay. The new memo, there is a new memo that reveals the FBI planned for January 6th months in advance. This is John Solomon, and he's speaking on Steve Bannon's podcast, Real America's Voice. But it was posted by Wall Street Apes. He says they plan to plant informants in the crowd and planned mass arrests of conservatives. They literally knew it would be rigged because they only planned arrest for conservatives, not liberals. They had a tabletop exercise that they ran in Boston in August of 2020, 5 months before January 6th occurred. The memos, which Kash Patel just turned over to Congress because he just found them recently, gave them to Congress at the request of Chairman Barry Loudermilk, who's in charge of the J6 investigation and now in the House. He showed that the FBI knew there was a strong possibility of a hanging election or a contested election. They even devised very specific strategies. One of them is to embed informants inside the groups, like the dorks that dressed alike and they thought we wouldn't notice. Embed informants inside the groups where the most likely political violence or political agitation might occur. The second thing they recommended was mass prosecutions, even for the most minor of crimes, which is exactly what the FBI did after January 6th. So now there are two big things about that strategy. It's pretty clear the strategy was hatched months before, and that's what they carried out. The FBI, knowing something was going to happen and implementing a strategy that hurt conservatives, but not liberals. So, did you know that? Did you know in your gut when it happened, or at least a few weeks later, that J6 was real? And it was real, it was organic, it was just America being Americans? Or did you think something feels off about this? What did you think at the time, JP?
Well, at the time, I was in high school when this happened. I was politically interested, but I was not like full-fledged politically engaged as I am now. And actually it was the 2020 election that I checked out for like a year or two of like, cuz I knew in my gut like the election that was suspicious. January 6th, I didn't know. I just did something felt off and I was like I don't even want to engage in politics right now. And then, around 2022, 2023, I kind of got back into it, but it was the election in J6 that disgusted me with like, this is not real. Something's up. I felt like the election was stolen and I felt like, what's the point of even engaging this is 18-year-old me, what's the point of even engaging if this is the crap, but I had that feeling of when it happened of this is weird, even if it is real, I don't even want to think about the fact that, this could happen. But deep down, I felt something was up with the election and J6. And by the way, forgive me if you're listening, but we had a J6 attendant on the show when Phil was doing the show, and his first person story of it was really interesting to me because he talked about how it was the most patriotic and prayerful event he'd ever been to, that everybody there was there to support President Trump. There was no intentions to storm the Capitol. There was prayers, there was worship, there was massive flags. And he said that the moment that their phones, like people saw that Mike Pence did not, stop the count or, overturn the election, that's when there was a shift. In his own words, he said people that were there to quote protest, the second that came out, they all of a sudden shifted as if they were there to do a job. And he said, I got such a bad feeling that me and my wife left after that.
Really?
He said the second that, came out, Pence did that. He goes, a bunch of people that were there that were just prayerfully protesting, all of a sudden they were on a job and they were like, we're going to the Capitol. And it was weird. It's like something shifted. So I don't know. At the very least, hasn't it come out there was at least 200 informants or 200 FBI agents in the J6 crowd? I think Clay Higgins was the one that broke that. I don't know. It was really bizarre, but I agree with you. It's got that feeling. It always has of maybe not everything that happened that day is how it seemed.
I'm with you. Everything that day was not as it seemed. And yet, here we sit on the verge of being able to make things right because we know that the people that were declared crazy because they thought that something happened in Fulton County, Georgia, things were happening in Arizona, something happened in Wisconsin, other weirdness happened in Michigan. We were told we were insane. We were election deniers. And now we have the opportunity in the Senate, and it looks like Susan Collins has come over and said, okay, I'll vote with you guys for the SAVE Act. At least we can baby step toward making sure Americans only with ID vote in our elections. There's so much more to go because as we learned from Dr. Douglas Frank, there's a lot more we have to do. But that would go a long way toward doing something right out of that absolute disaster of January 6th.
Yeah.
Of knowing now that we were targeted, knowing that they were going to prosecute, knowing that there are still people in prison, that Tina Peters is still there and they won't let her out and they're punishing her. I think she's in solitary confinement. They are still looking for ways to punish political prisoners. So this SAVE Act would be a triumph in the first of big steps toward preventing something like that from happening again.
Yeah.
Now we have to make sure that we do one-day voting, paper ballots, along with IDs, count the same day, maybe even ink your finger. I don't know. But this would be a giant victory upon learning that J6 indeed was staged and prepared for.
It would. It would. The insurrection narrative. That is something. If you're going to claim that people literally tried to overthrow the country, that's a big claim that you're going to make and with the insurrection claims and such like that. So I agree completely. Just the fact too that the FBI, with the amount of informants or agents that were embedded in the crowd that day, were purposely egging on. I mean, I think Tucker Carlson lost his job. I think this may have been the last, like the straw that broke the camel's back, because he was talking about Ray Epps on Fox and how because there's video of Ray Epps the day before J6. That, I mean, this is not alleged. There's a video of it talking to people like, tomorrow we're going into the Capitol, and everybody around him was like, whoa, dude. And they actually started chanting Fed, and he was like, no. And if you look at all the videos of Ray Epps while the crowd was starting to storm the Capitol, he's always at the front, and there's actually instances of him talking to the police, like saying something. And so I don't know, but that Tucker Carlson lost his job because he was it was like, I think Ray ended up suing Tucker, and Fox was done with Tucker at that point. But there's just a lot of weirdness on that day. And looking back on it, it was just a weird time. That time in general was such a weird, it was like a spiritual, you felt like evil was getting a foothold with the election, that nonsense, J6, and then obviously COVID before that.
Yes.
It was an odd time to look back on.
Truly, because all they wanted was to keep Trump out of the White House. That's all they wanted, because they knew if he was back, he would be able to do things that would make us more free and not less.
Mm-hmm.
And they couldn't stand for it. Also, because he's not an insider. He's a pragmatist. He's going to do what he thinks is best, even if it doesn't always agree with us. But that, to me, was a very distressing time. I agree. Very distressing. Because you think, okay, now we know they planned it. How many other things are we stepping into that they've prearranged?
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to punish us for? Like, we just have to ask the question, maybe that happened, when we're moving forward. But we can look back with concrete determination and go, yep, they did that to us. Mm-hmm. Whoever they are, did that. That's kind of atrocious.
It's true.
Anyway. All right. So when we come back,
we're going to find something fun to do. We may change it up. I don't know.
Okay. All right. I don't even know. You have to stay tuned to find out what that is. We'll be back.
When I first heard the slogan that abortion is an act of love, I retracted just a little. And then I started thinking about my sister's story, and I started thinking about individual case stories and saving lives and saving futures. That abortion can be the most loving act that we can have.
I beg your pardon?
Is it the position of the ACLU that people should have to be U.S. citizens in order to vote in Arizona's elections?
It is the ACLU's position that voting should be fair and accessible, and to everyone who is eligible.
That would be a U.S. citizen. Yeah.
That doesn't make sense.
Donald J. Trump calling Thomas Massie a moron at the National Prayer Breakfast. That's the thing. It was this morning.
Now, no matter what we do, this moron, no matter what it is, we could put them all together. I think, Mike, what would you say the top 5 things? Name them. We'll put them in one bill, and we'll put them before we'll get 100% vote, except for this guy named Thomas Massie. There's something wrong with him.
Why we got to be like that?
Yeah.
I guess because I thought Massie did the right thing. We were calling all of Congress out yesterday for allowing, what was it, $1.3 trillion to go to scholarships for higher education for underprivileged kids in Egypt. And that's what Trump is saying. Massie's a terrible person. Massie went through, he voted, or he put an amendment out to make it so the government can't put a kill switch on your car. Congress voted it down. The Republican majority voted it down. So why is he an idiot? And even if
well, he said moron.
I'm sorry. Is there a difference?
Probably technically, but I don't know.
Hey, Siri. What's the difference between a moron and an idiot?
According to Merriam-Webster, an idiot is a foolish or stupid person, while
while a moron is a mildly mentally retarded person.
Wait,
Siri said it. Okay.
Siri said retarded?
Yes, mildly retarded.
Is that because she's British?
Yeah, probably.
Mildly retarded.
She sounded so nice when she was saying
Existing housing, people that own their homes, we're going to keep them wealthy. We're going to keep those prices up. We're not going to destroy the value of their homes so that somebody that didn't work very hard can buy a home.
The whole messaging of the younger generation doesn't work hard enough to even own a home. First of all, it's awful optics, and that's a great way to lose Gen Z. So it's not great messaging, but then second off, it's just wrong. I think the narrative that my generation doesn't work hard enough to own a home, and that's why they're struggling to own homes, is just not true.
I think the enemy making the older generation the enemy is also wrong. Just like it's wrong to make the younger generation the enemy. Nobody's the enemy. Money's money. And we had better get in control of it if we want to get out of this at all. He pitted two groups against each other. That's wrong. That's not what we're for. We are for working on things we can work on so that everybody benefits. That's conservatism. And he didn't say that well.
I think instead of saying, I want all the boomers to get rich off their homes, I think he was saying, I don't want the boomers to lose their fannies when we drive housing prices down. Like, it's not that he thinks they're going to get rich off the backs of kids, even though that's what he kind of said. I'm assuming he's like, well, if we drive housing prices down, then all these people that have worked so hard and then have finally gotten there. I think what he's trying to say is, I want them to at least be able to keep the value of their home or make money. I just don't want them to lose money. And that's a reasonable thing to say.
Could we talk about the prevalence of anti-Semitism?
Yes, we can. And anti-Semitism is a real problem. It's been on the left for a really long time. There's a strain of anti-Semitism starting to emerge on the right that I think we should pay attention to. But I would say at the same time, that term anti-Semitism has become just about as useless as the term racism. We know that there are lots of people get accused of racism who are not racist. You know, there are lots of things that people will put that racist label on that are not racism at all. And the same kind of thing can happen with anti-Semitism. If you say what I said a few minutes ago, which is that Jews have to believe in Jesus to be saved, there are people who will say that's anti-Semitic. You say that Jews have to trust in Jesus to find salvation. Some people will say that's anti-Semitic. So we have to be very discerning here about what's actually being talked about. I would say that the flip side of that is if you say Jews can't be saved, for example, like Jews just can't be saved for whatever reason, that the branches on the tree of the covenant that were broken out can't be grafted back in, that would truly be anti-Semitic. If you say that.
Welcome back to Rightside Radio. I'm Amy Beth with JP, and we're at the end of a Friday. Friday the 13th. JP, nothing bad happened except for that roach that just fell off the ceiling.
What do you mean nothing bad except that? That a roach just fell right on the ceiling next to me.
I was watching it during our last segment thinking, surely this is just a little stink bug. No, sir, it was not.
JP, we got through Friday the 13th with nothing happening except a cockroach fell from the ceiling next to you and it's now sitting under your desk. That's pretty gross.
It's still alive?
I don't want to kill it.
Why don't you want to kill it?
Because it's gross. Like the squish and the I hate killing cockroaches because it's like.
Why don't you just smother it and put one of our Solo cups over the top of it?
Or maybe we leave it and hope it leaves over the weekend.
Well, they'll be up here and maybe they can help us get rid of it.
That's true.
Okay.
Well,
all right, then.
Another parts in the show, we're going to do some political science major trivia questions. And actually, this is good because I don't know the answers to these. I
probably don't either.
Well, no, I can't see the predetermined answer, so we'll both be doing the trivia today.
Okay. All right. I like it.
All right. It's multiple choice. By definition, what does democracy mean? Citizen leadership, majority's authority, popular governance, or rule by the people?
It's not ruled by the people.
I'm pretty sure it's
popular
governance.
Yeah.
It was ruled by the people.
Was it?
Yeah, we were.
What are
right
we
on.
doing, JP? Let's go home.
Which of the following states added no conditions to the ratifying of the U.S. Constitution?
Oh, come on.
Delaware, New Hampshire, Virginia, Massachusetts.
We're supposed to pick from one of those?
I think Delaware.
I'm going to go with whatever you say.
It was Delaware.
Okay.
All right. Which article of the Constitution vests the judicial power? Article 1, 2, 3, or 4?
3.
I'm pretty confident it's 3. It is.
Okay.
All right. Who wrote the 47-page pamphlet Common Sense, advocating people to seek independence from Britain to the original colonies? James Madison, Patrick Henry, Alexander Hamilton, or Thomas Paine? Thomas
Paine.
Yeah, it was Thomas Paine.
Okay.
How many sections or parts are there to the 14th Amendment? 3, 4, 5, or 7? I have no idea.
I'm guessing on this one. How many parts to the 14th? 7.
It was 5.
It was close.
What is a political term for a government system controlled by a single ruler or party with absolute power? Autocracy, plutocracy, oligarchy, or monarchy?
Autocracy?
Autocracy. Yep, that's correct.
Okay.
What term?
Look at us, JP.
We're getting it. What term describes the right to vote in public elections? Ballot, franchise, enfranchisement, or suffrage? Suffrage. Pretty easy. Which ancient Chinese, okay, that was so southern how I just said that. Which ancient Chinese philosopher is known for his teachings on ethics, politics, and personal virtue, forming the basis of Confucianism? Lao Tzu, Confucius. Okay, it's Confucius. It's
It
in
is
the name.
Confucius.
It's in the name. Okay.
That's an ACT question.
Which political concept refers to the separation of government powers into executive, legislative, and judicial branches? Rule of law, federalism, bicameralism, or separation of powers? Separation of powers.
Yeah.
Or either that or bicameralism. It's separation of powers. Who is known as the father of the Constitution in the United States? Benjamin Franklin, Alexander Hamilton, Thomas Jefferson, or James Madison? It's Jefferson. No, wait, it's James Madison. I forgot. Okay, Jefferson is the Declaration. I forgot.
We can't get them all.
What term refers to the formal withdrawal of a state from a federal union or alliance? Disengagement, dissolution, secession, or disaffiliation?
Secession.
Secession. What is the practice called when electoral district boundaries are manipulated for political? It's gerrymandering.
Yes, sir.
What is the political doctrine that emphasizes government power should be divided to prevent tyranny? Federalism, checks and balances, limited government, or judicial review? It's federalism.
Yes.
Oh, wait, no, it's checks and balances.
Wait, look, I'm gonna claim distraction on that one because one of my children texted me, and my brain went.
So you're not a good multitasker.
No, we've proven that today. I still give myself an 8 out of 10 because I get a lot of stuff done first thing in the morning. A lot.
I think you're a good multitasker. From what
I
it says
try.
you work.
I try.
All right, one last question. And what does the 22nd Amendment to the U.S. Constitution limit? Supreme Court term limits, Senate term limits, presidential term limits, or cabinet appointments?
I'm gonna go. Do you know the answer?
I don't. I'm gonna
go cabinet.
Well, I'm gonna get. I was gonna guess
No.
presidential.
And this is the 22nd.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm pretty confident.
I'm gonna go with that's yes, president.
That's correct.
Okay, look at us.
We got 10 out of 14.
Okay, so not too stupid.
Some of them I was just like,
I bet if we took it again next week, we'd do even better. We got to go with our gut,
or maybe going with our gut was too much of the problem there. Maybe we saw it and we were like, oh yeah, obviously.
Whatever. Oh my gosh. Okay. Everybody have a great Valentine's weekend. We have guests lining up for you next week. They are interesting, good conversations to be had by all. But until then, y'all be good. We will see y'all.